the State of the Nation address tomorrow. ATM highlighted a number of issues that it wants the president to address, which include ongoing corruption, high unemployment, and the deepening water crisis in the country. This as residents from several areas in Johannesburg took to the streets this morning to protest over prolonged water outages. The party's national spokesperson, Zaman Chona, says they are calling on government to implement programs that improve water supply.
Increased water harvesting program. And in order for you to be able to harvest more water when it rains, we must ensure that our bulk infrastructure is actually ready to actually deal with that. But also, we are losing millions of clean water through aging infrastructure. Now we need to see that a government is intentional about dealing with this program.
The University of Cambridge in England has transferred legal ownership of 116 Benin bronzes looted in the 19th century to Nigeria. The artifacts are made largely of brass and also include ivory and wooden sculptures. The BBC's Makaochi Okafor.
The head of Nigeria's National Commission for Museums and Monuments said the artifacts valued for their craftsmanship will be displayed in museums in Lagos and Benin City. Olugbile Holway said the federal government has signed an agreement with the traditional ruler of the Benin Kingdom to manage the artifacts. The University of Cambridge says 17 pieces will remain on loan there for 3 years so visitors, students and researchers can still see them. Nigeria says this will help showcase its culture and heritage and give Nigerians abroad a chance to connect with their history.
Lastly, President Donald Trump says the United States would have to do something very tough if Iran didn't reach a deal on its nuclear program. Speaking to Fox News before talks in Washington with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Trump said he thought the Iranian regime wanted an agreement.
As you know, we have a massive flotilla right now going over to Iran. We'll see what happens. I think they want to make a deal. I think they'd be foolish if they didn't. We took out their nuclear power last time, and we'll have to see if we take out more this time.
Recapping on your top stories, Zimbabwe's cabinet has approved draft legislation that could significantly alter the country's political landscape. The proposed constitution amendment would extend presidential terms from 5 to 7 years and allow the president to be elected by parliament rather than through a direct popular vote. Now, for any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us at +27 11 714 4459. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Tsinsi.
SABC News. The African Perspective. Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802. On the Move with Benjamin and Palesa every weekday on Channel Africa, the African Perspective.
All right, it's 900 hours Central African time. This is Channel Africa, where we do things nicely, right? We give you that African perspective. You don't get it better anywhere else, but right here on Channel Africa. Well, what's coming up on the show? You'll be with me, Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa, and some fantastic reality conversations. We're going to be looking at this one. How do you read a room, like literally, right? When you're buying a home and you just like, okay, I actually like the aesthetics of this house, right? And then you forget to really look at the neighborhood and you're like, yeah, I'm in. And then you find out you're living with some racist neighbors. That's not ideal, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're going to be talking about, exploring practical ways to read a neighborhood so you can make a home that's more than just a roof over your head. And then we're going to be speaking relationships in the second hour. We're going to be speaking cougar relationships, focusing on older women, dating an older woman. But what does that actually mean? I just think sometimes we exaggerate. When a woman is just older, then you start calling her a cougar. Does it have an age bracket difference? When do you define someone a cougar? And what's the male version of a cougar? Do we have definitions
Yeah,
of
that's
that?
like every day because
The sugar daddy. No,
yeah,
it's not
a sugar daddy
necessarily.
essentially. But the thing is, most of the time in relationships and age gaps, there is a societal expectation
Yeah.
that men are usually older than women in a relationship,
yeah.
and
Peter
that's
was
why
saying
there's
that earlier on, yeah.
cougar, aesthetic. That's it. Oh, now that is surprising, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the opposite is usually true. Of course, in the final hour of the show, we're going to be speaking about IV therapy, and it seems it's gone outside of the hospitals into wellness clinics and sometimes into the streets as well. So we're talking about these IV drips that everyone is on
Sure.
for very different reasons. And of course, you can join us in these conversations at Channel Africa 1 is where you can find us on our socials. We're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube, and we'd love to have you.
Yeah, let's go. All right, that's Faceless with Serotonin, and that one is titled Venus. It's 10 minutes past 9 o'clock Central African time. We're going to get into the conversations, but only after this.
The whole population of Africa has been shocked to the depth of its soul.
For 60 years, Channel Africa has been the voice that connects the continent, telling our stories and sharing our vision with the world. This year, we mark 6 decades of broadcast excellence.
60 years of stories, sound, and connection.
6 years of African conversations that matter.
This is 60 years of broadcast excellence.
Broadcast excellence, rooted in Africa's heartbeat and looking boldly into the future. Join Channel Africa as we celebrate 60 years of broadcasting. Still strong, still vibrant, and still giving you the African perspective.
Channel Africa.
Step into the heart of the day on the move with Palesa and Benjamin.
All right, let's get into the conversations, the on-the-move conversations. Remember, if you want to join us in these wonderful themes that we're touching on today, you can use that WhatsApp number, +27 83 288 6684. You can text us and voice note us on that one. Welcome to air your views right here on Channel Africa. Well, we're going to be speaking property as we start the show today. When it comes to finding a home, it's not just about the aesthetics of a house, right? It's about the neighborhood that will also shape your life, from the bustling streets of Lagos and Nairobi to the leafy suburbs of Cape Town and Accra. Each community has its own rhythm, vibe, and personality. But before you sign that lease or mortgage, it pays to get to know the area, not just its property prices, but also just to get the feeling of being a neighbor, right? We're going to be exploring practical ways to read a neighborhood with Farai Dube, a real estate agent, joining us all the way from Zimbabwe. Farai, which neighborhood are you joining us from in Zimbabwe?
Hey, my man, how you doing?
I'm super.
Excellent. I'm calling you straight. Well, we're talking from Greendale, Harare.
How's that neighborhood?
I love it.
Oh,
I grew up here.
fantastic. It's tricky, right? Because when you're in a particular neighborhood, you're probably looking at the property market of that neighborhood. And then you go into the viewing of the aesthetic of the house and you're like, fantastic. It's got 5 bedrooms. Great. I've got 3 kids and I want a visitor. When they visit, they have the extra room. And yeah, it's me and my wife in the other one. That's kind of the main thing we look at. And we forget the feeling of the neighborhood, right? How important is to think about that extra factor?
No, it is actually very important, especially now these days. In the past, it was much more simpler because people were just dealing with houses. But now we've got a huge surge of things like cluster units which have come into play. So obviously the momentum and the amount of people in the neighborhoods increased. That means you're going to need more introduction of shopping centers that can accommodate these people as well as the amenities around. I would put this into the range of security is very important. And also be able to afford to, and also your community as a whole, are they able to maintain that neighborhood and increase the value, and any other things like the shopping centers being erupted there.
You know, Farai, when you buy the house, you actually don't know that you're also buying the neighborhood as well. And so it's important to look. You mentioned safety and security, which is, I think, the first thing that people want to look for. Like, okay, I want to move into this neighborhood. I love the house, but is it safe? How do you gauge safety and security?
First things first, find out where the local police station is and how active are they in that community. That's one. 2, many people are now also looking at private security in terms of like rapid response. You can have the option of having 6-to-6 security and 24-hour security. It all depends on your budget. Your budget determines your location and the type of security that you have. And also the community around, are they really active? Like where I stay, we've got boom gates in our road, and also nighttime security on top of the police as well security, which we all contribute.
Yeah, I think safety is such an important one, right? And also you need a sense of community around issues of safety. I know in my community, we've got these WhatsApp groups. They can be annoying at times, right? Because sometimes the politics of the neighbors and how they disagree with each other can also be a bit of, problematic. But what I love about that WhatsApp group is that everyone is concerned around the safety of the environment. And that's what makes it wonderful, just the accountability of that community, right?
100%. But as you clearly stated, it won't always be roses. Obviously,
Sure.
There's going to be clash of egos and other stuff. But you're not here to be popular.
Yeah.
There's also going to be some people who are going to have to take charge for the greater good of the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And also when you're choosing, like I'm going to use your South African neighborhoods. When I come to South Africa, you guys got some beautiful neighborhoods, Sunny Hill, Fourways, and all that stuff. Both like Sunny Hill and Fourways, they both have security. They're both lavish neighborhoods. But then you also have to see which specific neighborhood connects to my own character.
Okay.
When I look at Sunny Hill, Sunny Hill is more toned down, laid back. Fourways, very nice, but more active.
Mm-hmm.
So it also depends on your type of character and who you can actually see yourself fitting in with.
And I like that because it's all about feeling the vibe and the everyday rhythms of a different area. I mean, you highlighted Fourways. It's a bit of a buzz. It's moving. It's got a young demographic there, but also it's mixed a little bit with an older generation in their middle ages, but also a working class that is just easily moving up and down. And then Sunny Hill is a little bit older, a little bit kind of more quieter. But that means that you must be invested in that community's lifestyle as well. And I think that aesthetic is something we always forget about, don't we?
100%. But I cannot emphasize this enough. Live within your budget.
Yeah.
Your budget defines where you live,
mm-hmm.
and not your expectations and wants. Live within your means, and then your lifestyle will continue to be comfortable and realistic.
Farai, it's not always easy to do, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. You want to get as much information as possible about the neighborhood that you are trying to move into. But how do you tap into a neighborhood that you're not yet a part of? Benjamin spoke about the WhatsApp groups of his neighborhood. I have one in my neighborhood as well. But that's for people who live in the neighborhood. That gives insight to people who are already on the inside. So how do you get that insight if you're not, in it yet?
Well, the beauty of it these days, the internet is a fantastic starting point. I'll be very honest. It might sound cheesy and shortcoming, but like we have a website called Property Book, right? You guys got Property 24. With our website here, you can just go down. It says Tour Zimbabwe's neighborhood, and you click on a specific neighborhood. It gives you basically a rundown of what that neighborhood entails, like the family living. What type of healthcare access is around the corner, the education schools, and what to do there. So all that is a good start-off point. Then you go on the ground yourself and actually assess at different times, by the way. It's very important to access that. I come from a country where we have challenges with water as well as electricity. So you need to make sure that, okay, if I'm going to buy in this specific neighborhood, will I be able to access water? Is it through council or through drilling borehole or some other avenue to get the water?
Yeah, that's such an important one, in terms of the services and also the municipal planning, structure there. How important is that, to know that you've got your closest services around you? I'm not only speaking about retail therapy here, but just the essential services that any home buyer would get. How essential is that?
It's very essential but it all depends on the individual. I'll give you my personal example of like my mother. She recently had an operation on her knees. So obviously I wanted to make sure that she's in a neighborhood where she has easy access to a very good hospital, as well as to transport systems, as well as for her workers to have access to good transportation access. Mm-hmm. Those things are very important so that you've eliminated the problem before it even starts. So your specific needs might be different to another person. Someone might just be more focused on, oh no, I want to be near a supermarket that can provide me my daily essentials, sure. While some other people can also focus on the medical side.
All right. You're giving us some wonderful advice here. We're speaking to Farai Dube. Stay there on the line. Real estate agent joining us all the way from the beautiful Zimbabwe. It's 20 minutes past 9 o'clock Central African time. Let's take a break. We're going to be back.
Es-tu préoccupé par quelque chose? Es-tu passionné par les questions qui comptent? As-tu une voix qui mérite d'être entendue? Eh bien, nous avons la plateforme parfaite pour toi. Téléphone-nous ou fais-nous un WhatsApp au +27 66 408 87 42 et nous te rappellerons. Sois dans la conversation.
Salut Channel Africa, ici Beno le diamant rouge et Bina l'Export depuis le Cameroun, le pays des lions. Voilà.
Sois dans la conversation. Il ne s'agit pas seulement de parler, mais c'est ta chance d'exprimer ton point de vue, de partager tes opinions et de t'engager avec une communauté qui valorise ton avis. Suivez-nous sur les réseaux sociaux, visitez notre site www.channelafrica.co.za et préparez-vous à partager vos points de vue sur Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
How do you read a neighborhood before deciding to buy in that neighborhood? Farai Dube is a real estate agent helping us on this one. And before we went on the break, Farai, we were speaking about service delivery. It's such an important one, especially here on the African continent where we do have water and electricity challenges. And you want to make sure that you live in a place where you can get access to these things on a daily basis, right? And I did something that was is quite unique. Well, I was taught something that was taught to me when I was looking for my place, and I went onto social media and I checked up my neighborhood there to see how many people complain and how often they complain about electricity being off, about water being off. So I know if they had any recent challenges in those departments that could tell me to sort of gauge whether there's a service delivery issue in that area. What other methods can we use to try and gauge service delivery, which is, as important as air when you live anywhere?
Well, you kind of covered the basics of just that research, but you can go further down by going on the ground, right? Going to community centers. Like where I stay, we've got a community center by Greendale Sports Club there, where people actually sit down and have meetings regularly, and they'll be airing either their displeasure or pleasures of the neighborhood. So you actually get real feedback and real time of what's happening in the neighborhood. And also, getting involved with getting access to reputable, and I can't emphasize this, reputable real estate agencies, which are registered, that can actually give you a rundown of each neighborhood and their pros and cons. They are also very helpful in that department.
I'm one person who just loves food. I'm a bit of a foodie. So when I also moved into the neighborhood that I live in right now, that was kind of essential, kind of looking at the bars that I can go to around here when I'm just like chilling. Is there nice kind of restaurant culture here, which I kind of found that in my neighborhood. And lifestyle also speaks to it, because if you have children, there are also considerations to make in light of that, because you can't always not have a park in the environment. I've got a friend of mine who's living in such a wonderful children-orientated suburb where there's just these beautiful parks which are kept up to date, and they've got facilities for these young kids. So I think those things are also important in terms of the lifestyle you want to build, because I think in times where we want to spend less, I think our neighborhoods can actually help us with that.
100%. But as you clearly stated, it's very important to know what your individual needs are. Like you just mentioned, that people with kids, obviously we need a different analysis of which neighborhood they want to versus to people who are single or who are a young couple. But it's very, very, very important that, as you mentioned before, that there are things like WhatsApp groups and basic communications with the general neighborhood people. That information is always critical. Having shopping centers, like where I stay, we officially opened Food Lovers, which has been a very big draw factor for many people in Greendale. And on top of that, it's also increased the value of the surrounding properties.
So cool.
It's got advantages and disadvantages. The advantage, obviously, everyone said, "Oh no, we got Food Lovers here. It's very good." I know it's the same thing in South Africa. Every time I come there, there's always new buildings and everything. But there's also the risk of gentrification. I don't know if you know what that means.
Yes, yeah. But for those who don't, you could briefly explain it.
It's basically when a neighborhood is now going through what you call urban renewal process, especially very common in Cape Town. You guys have Woodstock and Salt River, where a lot of residential areas are facing intense pressure from new developments, increasing the value of the properties, but then also making rentals quite high for many people. So you look at those perspectives, either being a buyer or a renter. All those things have to come into play when you're deciding where you're moving.
I'm glad you mentioned, being a buyer or a renter, because if you're a buyer, you are taking it in for a long-term commitment. And how do you know? Because the things that we need today are not the same things we might need for ourselves in 10 years. Even our personalities change. So if you're going to buy, how do you know that the neighborhood that you're buying in will also suit your future self? Whereas if you're renting, right, and you no longer fit in that space, you can just move and rent elsewhere that's more suitable to your new lifestyle.
That is a very good question. There's no actual formula to that. You just have to take in as much information as you can and do a pros and cons scenario where you see the pros outweighing the cons or vice versa. Because as I said now, there's a huge movement from back in my parents' days. They used to be focused on big houses, big yards and all that stuff. But now, obviously, now in the modern days, as I mentioned before, cluster units have become the order of the day. One, because you also share the operational cost of security, maintenance, and just the general upkeep of where you stay. But it's also very important that you know that in each complex or neighborhood you stay in, is everyone on the same page in managing and maintaining that location. So you can actually see it, like in Greendale, where you are, you can see now there's a shift now because there's so many cluster units that, okay, fine, people are now taking more seriously to upkeep, but there are also some areas where people say, you know what, cluster units have become the order of the day. It's now cheaper for the people who could not fit in that bracket earlier on to buy those big houses, but now they can afford the smaller cluster units. Are they willing to have a mind shift from where they're coming from into these new neighborhoods with their own rules and regulations? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of which, I mean, as you said, the gated communities, the complexes are becoming more sought after now. First of all, I think for security purposes, they are seen as, more secure because it is a little community. But there can be issues in there. I've seen people complain that, half of the people here aren't paying their levies, which means that the rest of us have to pay for them. And the levies keep going up at really an exponential rate that becomes really difficult. Outside of reading the broader community, how do you read the room or read the neighborhood of your gated community or your complex?
Well, it's funny you have to ask that because I stay in a complex myself. You're going to have to insert some serious rules. You're not going to be popular, right? You have to enact bylaws which will say, guys, if you don't pay your levies, certain benefits will not come to you, because it's not fair for someone to just keep paying for your own luxury in terms of security and all that. It's not always going to be roses, but it's very essential that people understand that when you come into a specific gated community, there's already a committee that's already set up, where there's a chairman, there's a treasurer, there's even a representative of the owners as well as the tenants, so that there is a basic collaboration and understanding of the greater good of what people are trying to accomplish.
Yeah, man, that's a very important point there. Any other tips that you want to give us before we wrap up? And you can tell us where we can also find you to get more of this kind of practical advice from you.
Look, buying property and buying and renting, two different dynamics, right? But the outcome is still the same. As I always say to people, work within your budget. You cannot expect champagne from a Coca-Cola budget. You have to live within your means for the long haul. That's my best advice for people when it comes to property, because it's a huge decision, especially when you're buying.
Absolutely. Farai, where can we get hold of you?
Well, I'm here. I work at Robert Root. We are based in Harare. We've got 3 offices. We've been here since 1958. So we've known the game for some time.
All right. Thank you so much, Farai. That's Farai Dube helping us on reading the neighborhood, right? Farai is a real estate agent based in Zimbabwe. That conversation takes us to 9:30 Central African time. Let's move on. Let's get our sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
And it's a very good morning from the sports desk. I am Musibu Dimakura with the latest sports news at the Sawa. So South Africa earlier on got to a target of 180 runs for the loss of 4 wickets in their match against Afghanistan in the second match of the T20 World Cup. This after Afghanistan won the toss and elected to bowl first, putting South Africa to bat first. At the moment, it is Afghanistan on 33 for the loss of no wickets after 2.4 overs. It is Kagiso Rabada at the crease now, bowling there to Gabas, who's currently on 25 of 13 balls. At the crease as well is Ibrahim on 2 runs for 4 balls in this encounter. Of course, South Africa looking for their second win at the ongoing ICC T20 World Cup tournament. Afghanistan looking for their first win at the global showpiece, and will indeed continue to keep you updated on this match throughout the course of the morning. Well, We'll stay with more cricket news. Kala Renaka could not have scripted a better debut for the Proteas women's side, playing a decisive role with both bat and ball in their 5-match wicket victory over Pakistan in the first T20 international played in Potchefstroom in the country's northwest province on Tuesday night. The 20-year-old struck in her very first over as a senior, playing at Gal Feroza for 13 at the JB Marks Oval before finishing with figures of 2 for 13 and an economy rate of 3.25. She later then showed her composure with the bat, scoring the winning runs to remain unbeaten on 29 runs. Visibly emotional during the national anthem, Renaka described the occasion as a debut from her wildest dreams.
To be honest, no. I think I was quite a debut, dream debut, to be honest. Couldn't have asked for a better debut for my country. I'll always allow myself to feel certain emotions, but I think it was quite special making my debut in South Africa, especially in Potch, because I know I started my S19 journey here. So, it's quite... Honestly, don't have words. I think it's just, at a young age, coming into an environment like this, it's a dream come true, to be honest.
While early signs suggest a new star may have emerged in South African women's international cricket, Renaka is careful not to go ahead of herself. She says she's not thinking too far ahead about the upcoming T20 World Cup later on this year, choosing instead to stay grounded and focus on the present.
Yeah, I think I don't want to look so far ahead, but I am aware of the T20 World Cup prep that the team is also busy doing. I think, but in terms of under 19 international cricket, there is still a gap. But I would say, as I mentioned, if you do get a taste of it at under 19 level, you kind of know what to expect, but just a more bigger crowd and high intensity.
Tennis news now. Coco Gauff crashed out of the WTA 1000 Qatar Open yesterday, beaten in straight sets by the world number 57 Elisabetta Cosirato. The 25-year-old Italian, a lucky loser in the draw, took the opening set 6-4 after a flurry of service breaks before breaking twice in the second to seal a 6-4 and a 6-2 victory in just over 90 minutes. It also marks the Italian's third career win over a top 10 player, earning her a third-round clash with fellow American Ann Lee, with a maiden WTA 1000 quarterfinal place at stake for both players. Meanwhile, top seed Iga Swiatek eased into the third round of the WTA 1000 Qatar Open yesterday with a commanding 6-love, 6-3 victory over Indonesian wildcard Yanis Tejan. Now, the three-time champion raced through the opening set in just 25 minutes. Although she dropped serve at the start of the second, Swiatek quickly regained control to wrap up the win with minimal fuss. She will next face off with Australia's Daria Kasatkina in the round of 16 for a place in the quarterfinals of the 1000 event. It is 9:34 a.m. Central African time. It concludes your sports news this hour. Just a quick update, Afghanistan now 44 for the loss of no wickets after 4 overs. Remember, the target is 188. South Africa having gotten to 187 in their 20 overs in the middle in the first innings earlier this morning. So, for any sports stories you'd like to share with us, our email address is newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Call us as well on +27 11714 4459. I'm back with more sports news in the next hour. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Moshatama.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. We are on Open Views Audio Bouquet. Channel 628.
Parlez-vous couramment le français? Êtes-vous passionné par la radio? Et êtes-vous qualifié pour travailler en Afrique du Sud? Envoyez-nous votre CV et vos 3 minutes démo en MP3 à @channelafrica.co.za pour avoir une chance de rejoindre la famille Channel Africa. Si vous n'avez pas de réponse après 14 jours, cela signifie que vous n'avez pas été retenu. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Thank you so much, Musibudi. Now let's move on and get our business.
business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you, Benjamin. Good morning. Zimbabwe has officially launched Zimbabwe Mining Week on the sidelines of the Mining Indaba, currently underway in Cape Town, South Africa. The new annual International Mining Conference and Exhibition is hosted by Zimbabwe's Ministry of Mines and Mining Development and organized by VUCA Group. Zimbabwe Mining Week is set to take place in November this year in Harare and aims to position the country as a competitive player in the global critical minerals economy. Event Director at VUCA Group, Samukelo Madlabane, elaborates.
We're actually running this particular conference with a number of partners, and one of the partners that we are running this conference with is the Ministry of Mines in Zimbabwe. And this particular conference is designed to move the mining conversation beyond just extraction and exports. And essentially what we're going to do is to move the conversation towards an ecosystem-led growth, addressing the full mining value chain, including local processing, refining, downstreaming, industrialization.
South African Deputy President Paul Mashatile says he is optimistic that over the next 3 years, government programs targeting youth and employment will double the number of employed young people. Mashatile was speaking in Cape Town at the round table for the Presidential Youth Engagement. He says President Cyril Ramaphosa has already created programs targeting youth unemployment, such as the Presidential Youth Employment Intervention and Presidential Employment Stimulus. Mashatile says government is heightening programs aimed at tackling youth unemployment.
Unemployment is quite high in the country, but even high amongst young people. That's really our biggest concern. So the president is agreeing that these programs that I'm talking about are not going to be once off. These are programs that are going to continue into the future.
The Congress of South African Trade Unions, COSATU, says it will seek urgent engagements with the Ministers of Employment and Communications as well as with Treasury to find solutions for the ongoing crisis threatening the collapse of the post office and jobs of thousands of its employees. According to COSATU's parliamentary coordinator Matthew Parks, if the post office is allowed to collapse and reports that government funds earmarked to assist its turnaround have not been paid are true, it will undermine efforts to amend SAPO and Post-Bank Acts. Park says the amendments were to enable SAPO to embark on a new sustainable business model, and it's urgent for government to act.
We are extremely worried about reports that the 3.8 billion rand committed by National Treasury has still not been received by SAPO, and that only 3 out of the 6 agreed to tranches of payments from the Unemployment Insurance Fund Temporary Employee Relief Scheme, the UFTERS, have been paid. These not only make the long-promised turnaround of SAPO impossible, but also risk its remaining employees' jobs. It is very concerning that SAPO's business rescue practitioners now said to be considering approaching the courts to liquidate SAPO. If true, this would be an absolute calamity for SAPO's workers and their families, and the customers and communities who depend upon its services.
Kenyan telecoms operator Safaricom has launched stock trading for investors on its M-Pesa mobile phone financial platform. The move could bring millions of new small investors into the stock market. M-Pesa was one of the global pioneers of mobile phone-based money transfer service in 2007. Its user base has grown to 35 million customers in Kenya, and it now offers an array of financial services, including savings, banking and investment products. The new stock trading products will allow M-Pesa users to directly buy shares on the Nairobi Securities Exchange without the need to open a brokerage account. In other news, Cuba has warned international airlines that jet fuel will no longer be available on the island. It's the latest sign of a fast worsening fuel crisis as the U.S. seeks to cut off the communist-run nation's oil supply. The BBC's Mimi Swabi has the details.
The Trump administration has imposed a virtual oil blockade on Cuba by threatening tariffs on any country providing supplies. Even the tourism sector, which historically has been prioritized by the Cuban authorities, has not escaped the fuel shortages. Cuba is heavily reliant on tourism. It's second only to remittances as a source of foreign currency earnings. The aviation fuel restrictions will hit these revenues, adding further hardship to Cuba's struggling economy.
Financial indicators this hour. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 Naira 354, Botswana 12 Pula 99, Kenya 127 shilling 90, Zambia 18 Kwacha 92, BRICS countries $1 in Brazil 5 real 20, Russia 77 rubles 19, India 90 rupees 60, China 6 yuan 91, South Africa 15 rand 93 cents. $1 is 73 pence to the British pound and 84 to the euro. Commodities: gold is trading at $5,055, platinum at $2,121 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil at $69.18 a barrel. That is all for now. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or you can call us on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Chanduko Ligege.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. Musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you will be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa Update on Channel Africa with Lulu Kabu.
South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has informed UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres that South Africa will withdraw its troop contribution to MONUSCO, the UN peacekeeping mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo, after nearly 27 years of involvement. Defense expert Dean Wingren, what are the main security implications of South Africa withdrawing troops from MONUSCO, and why now?
South Africa has been part of the MONUSCO mission since it was established in 1999 and is South Africa's longest running peacekeeping and peace enforcement mission. So it's not something to be taken lightly when the President says that he's unilaterally withdrawing from the mission. Why now is the question? Well, the MONUSCO mission has always been intended to be terminated initially at the end of 2025, and then it was extended to the end of this year. So with the funding crisis within the UN generally, there's less funds for these peacekeeping missions, and hence the UN has had to cut back on the various contributing countries and equipment.
Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time. The rhythm of Africa, the pulse of the continent. This is Channel Africa, the African perspective.
I'm drifting away into the darkness. Izothatha umthwalo ndimbeke mqolo mama. Ubomi bunzima. Just lift my head up high. Open my eyes and I will fly. The heavens will open. Mdali wesulu dikhalela kuwe. Open up. I'm feeling closer now. The light is shining brighter, but I'm losing my flow. Kudala isiwa ndivuka ndifuna
Amanda Black, she's a treasure, isn't she? Beautiful voice. Amazulu is the title of that one, taking us to 48 minutes past 9 o'clock Central African time. We've been speaking about finding a good neighborhood to live in. Hey, we love the aesthetics of how the kitchen looks like. Yeah, you know what? The many rooms that you might have in the house. But what if you start living there and you're like, no. The noise in this neighborhood is just not for me. And some great tips that we had from Farai Dube, real estate agent from Zimbabwe, helping us to explore how to read a neighborhood. Have you ever been in a neighborhood and you're like, you know what, I don't actually belong here. As much as I've bought this house, I need to move out as soon as possible. That can actually happen, where you find yourself in a location where you're like, no, the people here are just too young for me. I cannot stand this movement. I need a more quieter environment. How difficult is it to move into a new neighborhood? And have you had some challenges, or maybe you have some good examples to share with us right here on Channel Africa? Do that on our WhatsApp number, +2783 288 6684. We've got so much that's coming up on the show. We'll be speaking about cougar relationships a little bit earlier on. I actually have a problem with that term cougar relationships, because we like labeling women in a particular way, especially the older they get. So I think cougar also has a lot to do with a bit of what we think about when we make references to age. So I think there's a lot of ageism around these labels like cougar. But Princessa Agrei is going to join us on the line, a sex and family therapist from Ghana. That should be an interesting one, but it's coming up later on.
Africa at Play with Neto and ETO Chemane.
Lelintle, talk to us about your relationship with your father, Coach Pitso. What is this one thing that he said to you that is still stuck at the top of your head?
Coach Pitso and our mom, Moira Kakale, have always told us that whatever we do in life, we must do it to the best of our abilities, and represent our family well. But the big thing is do what you love and do it with all the passion that you have. And I think we see it in both their work. I mean, my mom has done a really good job with placing Coach Pitso in different clubs around the world, and she's negotiated contracts, and she's shown that as a woman you can also do work that is seen, and you can also get respect from men in a male-dominated space. And I think my dad has also shown that you must never underestimate the Black African man.
Lelintle Mosimane, a South African communications and digital media professional. Lelintle is also a daughter to a great mentor when it comes to the game of football, Coach Jingles Mosimane.
Live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m.
Darubini ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.
Kapele Mutachi, tunaelezwa kwamba waziri wa zamani wa polisi Mbekisele ameanza kutoa ushahidi wake mbele ya kamati ya bunge. Pengine namna ambavyo anaelezea na kutoa ushahidi wake, hii ikoje na imekaje? Hali hii ambavyo ilivyo hivi sasa inaleta picha gani kwa raia wa Afrika Kusini?
Hii hali inaleta picha nzuri, kwanza inaonyesha kama usalama wa nchi hauko kwenye njia nzuri. Wakati wale wenyewe wanapewa nafasi ya kufanya ulinzi wa nchi na ulinzi wa raia, wanakwenda kukamatwa na wenyewe kuwa miongoni ya watu wenyewe wanakwenda tena kuziwia wala kuprotect maalifu. Inaleta hali mbaya ndani ya nchi kuhusu usalama kwanza wa nchi peke yake, usalama wa raia.
Darubini ya Afrika kila Jumatatu hadi Ijumaa kuanzia saa 11 kamili hadi saa 12 kamili jioni majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
No interruptions, just the music you love on Channel Africa.
Dark days, friends with you, it's alright. Turn that pain to fuel to survive. Ooh, now I'm stronger. Backstage in the coupe like Lusher. Spin moves in the paint like Jordan. Girlfriend on the bullshit, that's Taurus. Star signs, pull up and shine at Nostra. Galaxy boy, that's culture. I've been on top for a long time. Champion cheats on my beat combines. People say hip-hop died, that's nonsense. Thank God they showed their true colors. Switched up piano like bugs. All in my feelings, I can't conceal it. I take it all away. I'm playing hard to get. This life is different. It's risky business. Lemons to lemonade. Lemons to lemonade. It tracks suit, Versace, pull out the set. Zip up the off-white, up to the neck. Turn up the AC, it's hot in the sack. Call up the slay queens, pull out the ace. Track suit, Versace, pull out the set. Zip up the off-white, up to the neck. Turn up the AC, it's hot in the sack. Call up the slay queens, pull out the ace. Ooh, ooh. Pull out the set, zip up the off-white, up to the neck. Turn up the AC, it's hot in the sack. Call up the slay queens, pull out the ace. Track suit, Versace, pull out the set. Zip up the off-white, up to the neck. Turn up the AC, it's hot in the sack. Call up the slay queens, pull out the ace.
Keep up. Nice ting with the lips and the curves. In my corner, a 10 on my lap. Maradona, I'm giving her some class, Cabernet Sauvignon, huh? When I made her gag, I was going for her tonsils. When I met her dad, I told him I'm an apostle. Damn, that nigga's a fossil. Now everything is alright, everything is alright. See my new car, right? I pulled up to the show and they was sleeping, the energy was weak, I gave him some more vibe. Always out the country, guess I'm a zai. Or they pull me over, I'm black, I might die. Or SAPS, cool drink, high five. SA, what a place to reside. Times, Durban, the Evergreen side. Living on a highway, pepper steak pies. No black, don't crack, so I bet I age fine. Got a little thing called ties. Wrote a little thing called dies. She wrote a little thing called eyes. Wrote a little thing called rhymes. Never told lies, you just couldn't see it with your own eyes. Feelings, I can't conceal it. I take it all away. I'm playing hard to get. This life is different. It's risky business. Lemons to lemonade. Lemons to lemonade. It tries suit, Versace, pull out the set, zip up the off-white.
Hey, that is AKA with Nasty C with one titled Lemons. 56 minutes past 9 o'clock Central African time. You are listening to On the Move right here on Channel Africa. I'm looking forward to this one. The whole idea of a cougar relationship. And you know, when we make reference to cougars, we're referring to an older woman, a relationship with a more matured person. I wonder how much of it is something that we've created in our minds, or it's also related to ageism, or also in terms of labeling women, especially older women in relationships. I don't know. I remember when I dated someone who's like maybe in the 3 years older than me, right, in that age group, and she used to say, I'm like, you're older than me, come on, you know, yeah, mdala. We used to tease each other like that. And she's like, but Ben, we actually like in the same age group, we just like, me and you are just 3 years difference, you know. And I kind of got it. I was like, yeah, we in Sintanga. That's what we call each other here in South Africa. We are of the same age bracket. And when we met family or even friends, I never felt that we had that labeling that she was my cougar and whenever, right? But whenever that happened, it was conveniently people that we didn't know, people who were kind of outside of our inner circle, who's like, Ben, are you with the cougar? Like, no, we're in the same age bracket with this person. She's like just my partner. And that's what I think it's all about at times, that we can easily label women in ways that are historically oppressive. I don't like the term calling anyone in a relationship in any label.
Yeah. You know what? I also wonder how big of an age bracket becomes a real age bracket, right? I definitely get what you're saying in terms of same age bracket, 3 years, 4 years. Does it change anything if you're dating a woman that's perhaps 8 years older than you? What about 10 years older than you? How do the dynamics of the relationship change, particularly in a society that's so used to age brackets only being about women being younger and men being older?
Yeah, there's that, but also there's this is a new thing, I think, because I've had friends whose mothers were older than their fathers in a range of 10 years even.
Yeah.
And I've always seen those relationships kind of normal. I've never even heard my friends raising that point that, by the way, my mom is 8 years older than my dad, right? And I think it's just a new Western phenomenon of how we kind of take these terms and then we try to assimilate to them outside of the context of our own living. Yeah.
All right, we're going to have that conversation in the next hour. It's a very interesting one. What do you think about those dynamics? A relationship where the woman is older and the man is younger. Do you see the cougar dynamic in it all? Does it change how we see relationships? Let us know so long before we even go into that conversation on our WhatsApp number. That's +27 63 288 6684.
Hey, let's move on right now. Let's get the latest news.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Benjamin. Looking at your top stories, Zimbabwe's cabinet approves a draft legislation that could alter the country's political landscape. And Democrats in the United States and survivors of abuse by Jeffrey Epstein give details of proposed new legislation. The latest news. Greetings to our listeners. The Zimbabwean government is now forging forward with its 2030 plan for President Emmerson Mnangagwa, intending to change the constitution to extend presidential terms from 5 years to 7. Under the proposals, presidents would be chosen by MPs rather than in a direct vote and could serve a maximum of 2 7-year terms rather than the current 5-year terms. Justice Minister Ziyambi Ziyambi told a news briefing that the bill would be sent to the Speaker of Parliament and be published in an official gazette before lawmakers consider it. The proposed constitutional amendment, Mnangagwa, who's 83, is currently meant to step down in 2028 after serving 2 5-year terms. Zimbabwe political analyst Takura Zangaza weighs in on the draft legislation.
If it goes to a referendum, it will not pass. That's why they want to avoid a referendum. And that's why they are willing to shoulder a constitutional court challenge around it, with the hope that the constitutional court rules in their favor about what an amendment can mean and can be. But it is highly unpopular. Lose. If this was to go to a direct national popular referendum, they would lose this vote to the people's concern and displeasure.
The African Transformation Movement Party in South Africa is demanding urgent accountability from President Cyril Ramaphosa and the Government of National Unity ahead of the State of the Nation address tomorrow. ATM highlighted a number of issues that it wants the president to address, which includes ongoing corruption, high unemployment, and the deepening water crisis in the country. This as residents from several areas in Johannesburg took to the streets this morning to protest over prolonged water outages. The party's national spokesperson, Zamantshona, says they are calling on government to implement programs that improve water supply.
Increased water harvesting program, and in order to be able to harvest more water when it rains, we must ensure that our bulk infrastructure is actually ready to actually deal with that. But also, we are losing millions of clean water through aging infrastructure. Now we need to see that a government is intentional about dealing with this program.
At least 4 people have died from malaria in South Africa in the Limpopo province this year. Provincial Health Department spokesperson Neil Shikwambana has urged the public to seek treatment when experiencing malaria symptoms to avoid loss of life.
We can say we have seen a surge in terms of the cases and also the death. The reason why we are on the ground trying to do awareness and all these things is because we're also seeing a challenge that if you record death of malaria, it's precisely because people report late to healthcare facilities, because these are 100% treatable cases. But if there are delays in receiving treatment, they end up complicating and resulting in death.
The University of Cambridge in England has transferred legal ownership of 116 Benin bronzes looted in the 9th century to Nigeria. The artifacts are made largely of brass but also include ivory and wooden sculptures. The BBC's Makochi Okafor.
The head of Nigeria's National Commission for Museums and Monuments said the artifacts valued for their craftsmanship will be displayed in museums in Lagos and Benin City. Olugbile Holway said the federal government has signed an agreement with the traditional ruler of the Benin Kingdom to manage the artifacts. The University of Cambridge says 17 pieces will remain on loan there for 3 years so visitors, students and researchers can still see them. Nigeria says this will help showcase its culture and heritage and give Nigerians abroad a chance to connect with their history.
Lastly, Democrats in the United States and survivors of abuse by Jeffrey Epstein have given details of proposed new legislation designed to MPs rather than in directive vote and could serve a maximum of 2 7-year terms. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Tsinsi.
SABC News. The African Perspective. Download the SABC app and take Channel Africa with you everywhere you go. On the Move with Benjamin and Palesa every weekday on Channel Africa, The African Perspective.
You know, usually we think about age gaps in relationship in a sense where men are older and women are younger. It's what we see in society. It's what we usually speak about. But let's look at it and the other way around. Today we're looking at relationships where women are older, dating younger men. Some people call them cougars. I don't know if that is an offensive term or not, but we'll find out from you what you think about that. It's coming up just in a bit, so stay with us here on The Move.
Hey, stay interacting. We're live on our social media platforms. At Channel Africa 1 is the place to go. You get updates from our social media team, but also you can check out the action and our guests in our studio, right? So just go to our YouTube page using that handle at Channel Africa 1 and you can get into the action. We also have another stream that's happening at the same time, same content. It just depends on what platform you prefer. We also made it available for you on our Facebook page. Just use the Channel Africa Facebook page and you'll be able to catch the action right here in studio. As soon as you get there, holla back. Tell us, where do you check us out from? Which country are you listening to from the African continent? We would really love to know.
Which kind life where I never see? I carry God so I fear nothing. Steady increase in the commas. Original no be parody. You know fit clear for your memory. Whether now winter or summer. I did Papa does now. Living life, see my fire burning bright within the inside me. Small leeway they mighty, they never know I color. To the move fine, check and balance everything inside my mind daily. Trust me, you can't fool me. Energy don't got logo, more friendly and conscious. I'm allergic to so I'm not ready for confusion. They're telling me make I show love, stability on gonna.
High vibration vibes from Area Star. That one is titled Commerce, all about self-confidence and resilience. Love that one, right? Giving us a good vibe for this morning. Let's take a break. We'll come back and speak about all things cougar.
Across Africa, communities rise with the promise of clean water and clean sanitation. The African Union's 2026 theme calls us to action.
It's about mobilizing real commitments, securing climate-resilient water and sanitation projects, and ensuring that water becomes a driver of sustainable development and prosperity across the continent.
A landmark moment, not only for Africa, but for the global movement for access to safe water for all.
Assuring sustainable water availability for every home, every village, every nation. This is the Africa we want.
Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Step into the heart of the day on the move with Palesa and Benjamin.
Let's talk relationships on the move. It's 10 minutes past 10 Central Africa time. And usually when we speak about age gaps in relationships, what we see usually in society, what the societal norm usually is a man being older than a woman in a relationship. However, the opposite is true, and it's not new at all. It has long existed, even if they weren't as openly discussed. What's changed is not the relationship themselves, but how visible and openly debated they've become in modern dating relationships. So speaking about something called a cougar, and this is a slang term for an older woman who dates significantly younger men, and its offensiveness can be subjective. Some people see it as empowering and others deeply derogatory, to use that term. So today we're speaking about that, right? Is age just a personal preference, or does it influence who holds emotional, financial and social control in these particular relationships? Princessa agrees, a sex and family therapist, joining us from Ghana to have this conversation with us. Princessa, it's a pleasure to have you. Good morning.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be back here once again.
Yes.
How are you doing?
Oh, we're doing great. Thank you so much for coming back. It's an interesting one indeed, because we don't see it as a norm. But, you know, the good thing is that social media and just the evolution of who we are as social beings, we're starting to speak a little bit more about the different kinds of relationship dynamics. So let's delve into this one. How big should an age gap be for a woman to be referred to as a cougar?
I will say, why the word cougar? Okay. I say, why should you call an older woman a cougar? Okay. Because I see it as being a stereotype, and age has no limit to love. Someone can be 30 and the person is thinking 60 in maturity. So it depends on how mature the person is. You could have a 50-year-old woman who is thinking as a teenager, who has not matured past the teenage stage. So what do you call that person? So why just put the age because the person is older and then the person is a cougar? I feel societal norms have to evolve. You don't have to call a woman a cougar just because she fell in love with someone whom she's connected to emotionally. So for me, I don't see the age thing there. It's as long as she is mentally, emotionally, and physically loving that person,
sure,
and they're vibing on the same frequency, okay, they're good to go.
Okay.
I think that's patriarchal, actually.
That's very interesting. And I want to continue on that age theme, right? Because historically, for us as Africans, it's not such a big deal when I think about it. You know, I've friends who had their mothers who were older than their fathers by maybe more than 5 years, which I think would be a fair definition of what we make reference of a cougar. Maybe it's more than 5 years. I'm not sure, right? Because it's never kind of been something that I've been aware of. But even with those age differences, I've never seen those age differences within those couples, but also their children have never been really disrupted by the age differences of their parents, right? Why do you think in modern society we've taken this Western ideal and we've used it to judge our styles of relationships on the African continent?
I was coming to that because I felt the cougar is a Western term. We had in let me not say all across Africa, but in Western Africa where I've grown up and I've seen women who are older than their husbands, and you don't even get to know. They're vibing on the same level. The respect is there. The honor is there. You don't even know maybe until when the woman has the birthday party or when you go in-house, you know this woman is older than the husband by 5 to 10 years. It's a normal thing in the African society that a man can walk up to an older woman who is not married or who is single and say, I like you, I love you, and they will go on a relationship. But I see it as a Western culture of look, let's go back to the 1920s and the 1930s and 50s. We still had the Westerners getting married. They had child marriages. 14-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 11-year-olds were being given out were actually sold as married. But here in Africa, we had our girls. I don't know if it's the same in South Africa, where you have the coming into womanhood culture. And that womanhood culture, you see these girls, they're around 14, 15, 16, right? That's when they have these festivals where you come into the womanhood culture and stuff like that. We didn't give off child brides. No, you can be betrothed, but it's a Western thing that they see an older woman in love with a younger man as something that is some way be as we'll say in Ghana, as if it's up. But they are okay with an older man marrying or being in relationship with a 19-year-old. What is it? Okay, why are you worried that a 60-year-old woman is in love with a 30-year-old man or a 20-something-year-old man, but you are comfortable with a 19-year-old, a 20-year-old, being in relationship with a 70-year-old? Come on, let's balance the equation.
Yeah.
Let's just balance it.
And I'm going to come in here because there are points that, I disagree with you in, Princessa. The fact that you say, there's balance. And yes, child marriages, and I'll say specifically girl marriages, still happen here on the African continent and all over the world, which in my personal opinion should be illegal because there isn't real consent. And I want to speak about that, the power dynamics, because I don't want to just look at it, if men can do it, women should be able to do it too. Let's speak about the real power dynamics of age gaps just in general, which can exist even if women take those particular decisions. There are legal ages for a reason in our societies, and there are ages of consent for a reason, because power dynamics of particular age groups, especially with those who are seen as children, can cause real issues in that relationship but also in broader society. Let's talk about that, how consent can play a factor when it comes to power dynamics of the age ranges that can be unkosher, for lack of a better word.
Okay, for the power dynamics, let's come here because I wasn't even thinking in the aspect of predation. I was thinking of the cougar is someone who is an older woman with a man who has crossed the 20s.
Yeah.
Okay, let me say 5 to 10 year gap in age. That's how I see the cougar thing. But now let's come to the power dynamics when it comes to predation. When I hear the word cougar, I don't think predation. It's different for me. Like there are women who prey on boys. They are there. You are not a cougar.
Yeah.
You are a predator. Okay, you are a predator. I think they give the name cougar because the animal cougar predates on children. If I don't know, if you watch Nat Geo Wild, you see that mostly when the cougar comes close to a town, it's always taking the children.
Okay.
And I think, yes, it's always taking the children. I think they put that on the women. And I don't know why they didn't put it on the men.
Yeah,
If an older man is told, what should we, or rather, the men are called sugar daddies. Why are they called sugar daddies?
Yeah. So, okay, let's take a break. Let's take a break, Princess. I will come back. I think that's such an interesting point because you're correct. The term cougar on its own can be highly disrespectful, especially because of, the kind of animal this woman is being associated with. But I want us to come back and look at different dynamics as well. Someone who's older, has matured in their life, might have a more permanent career, might have more money, and money dynamics can also come into play in those relationships, particularly relationships of legal consent, which is what we're referring to in this particular segment. It's 20 minutes past 10 Central Africa time. What do you refer to as a cougar? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Go to our live streams on Facebook and on YouTube.
Channel Africa is moving with the times, and so is our WhatsApp line. We've changed our WhatsApp number, making it even easier for you to stay connected. Send us your voice notes, comments, shout outs, and song requests to our new WhatsApp number, +27 83 288 6684. That's +27 83 288 6684. Save it, share it, and stay in the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective. 9 to 12 midday, Central African time. On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
Hey, 21 minutes past 10 o'clock Central African time. Princessa is with us, a sex and family therapist all the way from Ghana. We're speaking cougar relationships we are putting inverted commas on the cougar because that's the question that we're asking around it. And I love that Princessa was speaking around the fact that a cougar is actually an animal. We know that it's one of those rare adaptive cat natives to the geographies of Americas and Canada or even South America. And it was interesting that she was highlighting that a cougar preys on young creatures and also children. That's very interesting to make that comparison, that this is where it derives from, this phrase cougar. But let's examine it a little bit more. And Princessa, it has a little bit more interesting nuances here in South Africa. We've got what we call a Ben 10 culture in South Africa, where you have younger men who are attracted to more mature, to a woman who's probably more financial stable, who has reduced demands, and there's no traditional norms or commitments in that relationship, right? And the cougar is the lady who probably wants a little bit more less stability as well in that relationship, wants a young man for less committed means, and maybe also for the sex. Let's not run away from that as well. Those are power dynamics that are interesting because the dynamics have non-attachment ideals around them. What's your take to that kind of situation?
Okay, like we clarify that we should know what a cougar is. Either is a woman predating on a younger man, or it's going in there for real love and affection. Now, you talked about the Ben 10 culture in South Africa. When you said Ben 10, I could remember when my son, years back, he's now an adult.
Yes.
He loved the Ben 10, and I thought Ben 10 just changes into a monster to fight bad people. I'm so surprised to hear he's taking a different connotation. Now let's look at it. Why is it all boils down to motive? It all boils down to intention. Am I going in for a younger man because I want less stability? I just want the fun of sex and go out. There are people like that. And then are they also women who are attracted to these younger men because this younger man thinks more maturely than the older men, the men of our age think? Let's also look at also that dynamic. I can't forget the fact that there are young men who their primary assignment, they have decided that that's their primary assignment, that they just want older ladies who have money so that they won't have to ask, what are you bringing to the table?
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's the bringing to the what when they bring into the table culture. That's what I call it. They bring into the table culture is what is causing this dynamics to evolve. Because way back there was no table. There was no table.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
right now, our youth are discussing what are you bringing to the table. And I used to tell my adult children, I have two adult children, and my daughter came to tell me one day she had a date, and then she said, "Oh, mommy, this guy's asking me what am I bringing to the table?" And I'm like, "What's that?
Yes.
You are a whole person. He is a whole person. Like, you have to. Why must there be something to give? Can't you just be 100% yourself in the relationship without expecting so much financially from the other person? You have a head, you have a brain. If you're looking for finances, if you're looking for support, go back to your family and ask for support. Why are you looking for support from the other gender or from someone whom you are in a relationship with?
Yeah.
Let's look at those things again. Why? Because now we are seeing relationship as a business contract, as something you have to either make money or something you have to gain status from. No, that is why we are having issues. That's why we are having lots of divorces now more than before because of the intentions. Some of the young men will go into these ladies. These ladies will love them with their whole heart, but the young man is going in there for the money. I'm going in there for the status. I'm going in there just to give this woman sex, and then she gives me money and all that, and off I go. But some young men don't do that. They just love these women genuinely, and they go about it. Like you said earlier on, you get to find out that some of your friends, their parents, their mothers were older than their fathers by 5 years, and you didn't get to know until later.
Princessa,
But
sometimes in these relationships, you as partners have already negotiated what your needs are. You're happy to be together. Whatever the terms of engagement are, you all consent in those terms of engagement. But where the problem lies is with the people on the outside, your friends, your family members. I don't know how many Nollywood movies I've seen where a boy or a man brings his older female partner to his family, and the mother-in-law says, absolutely not. I will not allow you to marry this old woman. And your friends like, what are you doing? There's so many amazing young women out there. Let's speak about dealing with the dynamics of the people on the outside who have a lot of stigmas and misconceptions about the relationship dynamic when the woman is older and the man is younger.
Now, let's look at it. You talked about our media also has created that culture where they see a younger person being involved, a younger man being involved with an older woman and something bad. I think how the media has created that culture. Now, those stigmas were not necessarily there when they found that why is there no stigma when the guy brings in a white lady?
Yeah.
That's a question to ask.
Or a younger woman as well.
Yes, but you will see our boys, our African boys, will be emotionally involved, even marrying women older than their grandmas, but they won't even give a stick. They won't give a stick to someone who is 5 years older than them, who is a black woman. So I see it as double standards. I honestly see it as double standards. Because why will you complain when it's a black woman that your son or your person, your friend, is being involved with who is older than him. But when he brings a Caucasian grandma home, all of you are happy. All of you are rejoicing.
All right, Princessa, we have to leave it there. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, and I think you've added another layer of race there. That's interesting. But thank you for joining us on this one. Just before we say goodbye to you, because you've given us so many ways of thinking about this one, where can people find you if they want to get into some of the content, or maybe if they want to consult you?
Oh, you can find me on Facebook. Okay. Just the name, Princess Luchi Agri. It's just that my name. You find me on Facebook, and then you find me on Twitter. That's where you could find me. Just find me on Facebook. You will see me. Or if you just put hashtag Sessa, you will find me everywhere with my troubles and everything,
Yeah, fantastic. Well, Princessa, thank you so much for joining us on this one. Princessa Agre is a sex and family therapist all the way from Ghana. Hey, what do you think about it? Do you think cougar relationships are more mainstream right now? Or do you think we as Africans have taken a foreign term and now we are using it in our own African context? Let us know on our WhatsApp number, +27 83 288 6684. It's 10:30 Central African Time. Muzibudi Makura joins us now to give us the latest sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you so much, Benjamin. A very good morning from the Sports Desk. So, Mamelodi Sundowns have suspended performance analyst Mario Masha amid allegations that he leaked tactical information to former coach Rulane Mokwena ahead of Saturday's decisive CAF Champions League clash. Now, Masha, one of the longest-serving technical staff members, having joined during the Pitso Mosimane era, is understood to have denied the accusations, but placed on precautionary suspension either way. So Sundowns will host Mokwena's MC Alger of Algeria in a high-stakes final group stage encounter that will also determine which of the two sides advances to the quarterfinals of the CAF Champions League alongside either the current group leaders Al Hilal or Saint Elulupopo of the Democratic Republic of Congo. So following the 1-1 draw away to Lupopo in Lubumbashi on Saturday, a result that left Sundowns needing a victory against the Algerian champions to progress, Coach Miguel Cardoso delivered a pointed message that raised eyebrows in that encounter. On to some cricket news. New Zealand all-rounder Michael Bracewell has been ruled out of the remainder of the T20 World Cup after re-injuring his left calf, with Cole McConey drafted in as a replacement. Now, Bracewell has torn the muscle in the ODI series against India just last month, but then recovered in time of the tournament only to suffer the setback again during warm-ups ahead of Sunday's win over Afghanistan. Now, the Black Caps went to beat on the United Arab Emirates by 10 wickets yesterday and to move top of Group D and will next face South Africa in Ahmedabad on Saturday. Well, speaking about South Africa, the T20 World Cup match up against Afghanistan at the moment. It's heating up between these two sides out at the the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad, where they're facing off with South Africa in the match 12 of 55 of the T20 World Cup. It was Afghanistan who won the toss earlier on, put South Africa to bat first, currently chasing 187 runs for a victory. Afghanistan currently on 139 for the loss of 5 wickets with about 5 overs remaining. They need now 49 runs to win from 30 balls in this encounter. It might just be a tight finish between these two sides out in Ahmedabad. Still on cricket news now, back home, Kayla Renaga could not have scripted a better debut for the Proteas woman, having played a decisive role for both bat and ball in a 5-wicket win over Pakistan in the first T20 international match played in Potchefstroom in the Northwest Province last night. So the 20-year-old struck in her first over at the senior level at Clean Bowling Gal Feroza for 13 at the JB Mox Oval before finishing with figures of 12 for 13 at an economy rate of 3.25. She later then showed her composure with the bat, scoring the winning runs to remain unbeaten on 29 runs. Visibly emotional during the national anthem, Reneka described the occasion as her debut of her dreams.
To be honest, no. I think that was quite a debut, dream debut, to be honest. Couldn't have asked for a better debut for my country. I'll always allow myself to feel certain emotions, but I think it was quite special making my debut in South Africa, especially in Portugal, because I know I started my S19 journey here. So, it's quite... I honestly don't have words. I think it's just, at a young age, coming into an environment like this, it's a dream come true, to be honest.
While early signs suggest a new star may have emerged in South African women's international cricket, Kayla Renega is careful not to get ahead of herself. She says she's not thinking yet about the upcoming T20 World Cup later on this year, choosing instead to stay grounded and focused on the present.
Yeah, I think I don't want to look so far ahead, but I am aware of the T20 World Cup prep that the team is also busy doing. I think, but in terms of under 19 international cricket, there is still a gap. But I would say, as I mentioned, if you do get a taste of it at under 19 level, you kind of know what to expect, but just a more bigger crowd and high intensity.
And finally, onto this story. Norwegian biathlete Sura Holm Legret had confessed on live television to cheating on his girlfriend moments after winning a bronze at the Winter Olympics yesterday. So the 28-year-old who won his first individual Olympic medal in the 20-kilometer individual biathlon at Milan Cortina admitted he had an affair 3 months ago and called it the biggest mistake of his life. He said he had been the worst week of his life since he told his girlfriend of 6 months about the affair. Now, the 7-time world champion finished third in the biathlon, which combines cross-country skiing as well as rifle shooting, behind champion Johan Olive Botton, a fellow Norwegian, as well as Eric Perrot of France. It is a second Olympic medal for Legret, who won gold in the relay back in 2022. Just a quick update. South Africa up against Afghanistan 145 for the loss of now 6 wickets. The last wicket to fall of Mohammed Nabi of Afghanistan. There's about 4 overs left in this T20 match between South Africa as well as Afghanistan. South Africa, of course, having gotten to 187 runs earlier on. And, of course, now Afghanistan needing 188 to win this encounter against South Africa. That's a wrap from the Sports Desk. Katho Sawa. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, do send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Give us a call as well on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Musibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802. Channel Africa is evolving, and so are you. Stay connected wherever you are with our brand new website and mobile app. Stream your favorite shows, catch up on African news, culture, and conversations, all at your fingertips.
Africa is just a tap away.
Your world, your stories, now on the go.
Stay connected wherever you are.
Visit channelafrica.co.za or download the Channel Africa app today. Channel Africa, the African Perspective.
Thank you, Musibudi. Let's get our latest business news now with Chanduko Likeke.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Palesa. Good morning.
Zambia has formally requested a new International Monetary Fund program with a team from the multilateral lender expected to visit from February 25th to March the 4th. According to the country's Treasury, Felix Nkulukusa, if talks go smoothly, the Southern African nation expects to reach a staff-level agreement with the IMF in May. Zambia's most recent IMF program ended in January with a total disbursements of $1.7 billion supporting the country as it emerges from a protracted debt restructuring process. Zimbabwe has officially launched Zimbabwe Mining Week on the sidelines of the Mining Indaba, currently underway in Cape Town, South Africa. The new annual International Mining Conference and exhibition is hosted by Zimbabwe's Ministry of Mines and Mining Development and organized by VUCA Group. Zimbabwe Mining Week is set to take place in November this year in Harare and aims to position the country as a competitive player in the global critical minerals economy. Event director at VUCA Group, Samukelo Madlabane, elaborates.
We're actually running this particular conference with a number of partners, and one of the partners that we are running this conference with is the Ministry of Mines in Zimbabwe. And this particular conference is designed to move the mining conversation beyond just extraction and exports. And essentially what we're going to do is to move the conversation towards an ecosystem-led growth, addressing the full mining value chain, including local processing, refining, downstreaming, industrialization.
South African Deputy President Paul Mashatile says he is optimistic that over the next 3 years, government programs targeting youth unemployment will double the number of employed young people. Mashatile was speaking in Cape Town at the round table for the Presidential Youth Engagement. He says President Cyril Ramaphosa has already created programs targeting youth unemployment, such as the Presidential Youth Employment Intervention and Presidential Employment Stimulus. Mashatile says government is heightening programs aimed at tackling youth unemployment.
Unemployment is quite high in the country, but even high amongst young people. That's really our biggest concern. So the president is agreeing that these programs that I'm talking about are not going to be once off. These are programs that are going to continue into the future.
The South African rand gained against a weaker dollar in early trade as investors digested disappointing retail sales figures and waited for a key labor market report from the U.S. Earlier, the rand traded at $15 rather 92 cents against the dollar, which is 0.2% stronger than its previous close. The US dollar was last down 0.3% against a basket of currencies as traders continued to assess retail sales, which unexpectedly stalled in December as households scaled back spending on vehicles and other big ticket items, suggesting a slower growth path for consumer spending and the economy heading into the new year. Dutch brewer Heineken says it will cut up to 6,000 jobs from its global workforce and set lower expectations for growth in profit in 2026 than a year earlier, as the brewer and its peers grapple with weak demand. The world's number 2 brewer by market value has promised to deliver higher growth and fewer resources as it looks to assuage dissatisfied investors who say it has fallen behind on efficiency. At the same time, sales across the sector are faltering amid strained consumer finances, geopolitical turbulence, and bad weather. Now let's have a look at financial indicators. $1 in Nigeria is at 1,000 naira 354, Botswana 12.99, Kenya 127 shilling 90, Zambia 18 kwacha 92. BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil 5 real 20, Russia 77 rubles 19, India 90 rupees 60, China 6 yuan 91, South Africa 15 rand 93. $1 is 73 pence to the British pound, 84 to the euro. Commodities, gold at $5,060, platinum at $2,136 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil at $69.37 a barrel. That is all for now. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email, newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or you can call us on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Chanduko Ligege.
business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Madapiri Pazoshitika. Madapiri Pazoshitika.
Madotolo oposa 1,500 amene amagwira ntchito yaulere mu zipatala zaboma mu dziko la Zambia azanyanyala ntchito lachisanu sabata ya mawa ndipo Daniel Shabanda kutambasula nkhani.
Madotolo oposa 1,500 amene amagwira ntchito mopanda malipiro apamwezi dziko la Zambia akuyembekezera kuyamba kunyanyala ntchito. Ichi ndi chifukwa chakuti boma lalephera walemba ntchito monga mmene lidawalonjezera. Channel Africa News yalankhulana ndi mkulu wa bungwe la madotolo la Resident Doctors Association of Zambia, Dr. Paul Chiwe. Akugomeza kuti madotolo ambiri amene akugwira ntchito mu zipatala zaboma akugwira ntchito yaulere ndipo ali ndi chiyembekezo chakuti tsiku lina adzalembedwa ntchito ndi boma.
Zochitika pa nthawi ya 6 koloko kufikira 7 koloko madzulo. Lolemba mpaka lachisanu ndi Madapiri Stella Longwe. Pamalonje.
Apa ndi katswiri oyimba wa dziko la Zambia ameneyu ndi Isaac Zulu. Isaac, apa pali nyimbo imene munayimba yomwe ikuti Manda Ambeta. Nyimbo imene imakamba zotani?
Nyimbo imeneyi ndinayimba zona ndikuchoka pasi pa mtima kama kakuona ma situation yena amene amachitika makamaka kukhala chikulisa achinyamata kapena azibambo tita azibambo. So kambiri chimapezeka kuti azibambo pena aliko amene makhala ndi mitima ankhanza osadziwa mosamalirira banja kuti wachikondi wanga ndifuna kukhala naye mnjira yotani kuti moyo wake ukhale wosangalala. Ndino zimafika pena zoti mwina wachimayi walemedwa nazo nkhanza za munthu wachimuna kapena kuti abambo okhala nawo pa nyumba. Ena amafika pa mtima pokamba mawu kuti ine munthu amuna anga pondikwatira ananditenga ku makolo sanatenge m'munsi mwa mtengo. Ndino nisafe chifukwa cha chikondi. Kulibe manda ambeta ngakhale tapita ku manda wina akafa munthu wokwatira kapena osakwatiwa sipamalembeka kuti pafa munthu amene sadalepo mbanja.
Thengatu wamphamvu kuti iyayi azibambo azisamalira bwino akazi osachitira nkhanza komanso azimayemera kuona mazunzo iyayi kulibe manda ambeta.
Malonje pa nthawi ya 6 koloko kufikira 7 koloko madzulo. Lowiruka ndi Stella Longwe.
On the Move, weekdays, 9 a.m. to midday. Only on Channel Africa. #On the Move.
For like you give me love, oh. Now you the catch my shot, oh. For your sake, I go church, oh. Hey. We go drive around it for my Porsche. Baby, pana, they say you like you all, I get you all. Baby, pana, anywhere that you go, I go follow. Baby, pana, they say you like cassava, I get to big cassava. Hey, baby, pana, my love for you will never die, will never die. If I ever, oh baby, if I ever, baby you too sweet, if I ever, my baby dance it to the lagwaja, make a take you to Babalada. If I ever, oh baby, if I ever, baby you too sweet, if I ever, my baby dance it to the lagwaja, oh make a take you to Babalada. So love is a beautiful thing, can you they cool my temper? Love is a wonderful tender feeling. You they give me ginger. So baby dance it, dance it, dance. The beauty in your eyes they give me life. Oh oh, I could give the Lord the thanks. So for the sake of love. Oh baby, leave it about the bad. I never give it about the baba. Oh, for the sake of killing you, show you love that you never seen before. For like you give me love. Oh, now you the catch my shot. Oh. For your sake, I go church. Hey. We go drive around it for my Porsche. Baby, pana, they say you like you all, I get you all. Baby, pana, anywhere that you go, I can follow you to go. Baby, pana, they say you like cassava, I get to big cassava. Baby, pana, my love for you will never die, will never die. If I ever, oh baby, if I ever, baby you too sweet, if I ever, baby dance it to the lagwaja, make a take you to Babalada. If I Viva, oh baby, Viva. Baby, you too sweet, forever. Oh baby, dance you do the labaja. Make a day, one your child. You see, you are taking my love, oh. I cannot understand now I'm feeling you are my woman crush, oh. Wanyama. You see, in a Miami, see, oh. Maybe me no go let you go. I will always be your lover. For your sake, I go kill you, show. Yeah. Show you love that you never seen before. For like you give me love, oh. Now you the catch my shot, oh. For your sake, I go church, oh. Yeah. We go drive around before my Porsche.
All right, man, that is the club banger. Definitely just makes you dance, doesn't it? It's Pana by Techno there, taking us to 10:49 Central African time. That's the time right now. I want to get your thoughts on this one. Cougar relationships. Is it something that we care about on the African continent, whether a woman is older than someone who is a male or even another woman? Does it really matter, if you are dating an older woman? Give us your thoughts. We were speaking to Princessa Agray, sex and family therapist from Ghana. And what Princessa is saying is that, generally it's just a thing of, look, maybe we're putting labels. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a thing of it doesn't really matter. If there's two consenting adults, of course, adults being the main emphasis there, then you know what? There's no real problem. Or maybe you're like, guys, no. There are dynamics here that actually create a cougar. There can be a powerful woman who has influence in society, in the community, and maybe them dating a younger person is not such a good idea, even if it's a consenting adult. +278 288 6684. Give us your thoughts on this one.
Africa, voici Abedi.
Oui, c'est moi.
Abedi est un passionné de musique dans l'âme. Il a un goût pour toutes sortes de musique et passe ses journées à écouter Channel Africa.
J'aime beaucoup la musique africaine.
Ok. Devinez quoi? Channel Africa veut aider Abedi et les mélomanes du monde entier à découvrir encore plus de musique incroyable. C'est pourquoi Channel Africa appelle les artistes africains à soumettre leur musique. Chers artistes, n'oubliez pas de nous fournir toutes vos informations pertinentes à l'email adresse musique@channelafrica.co.za. Les soumissions sont votre chance d'être entendues, mais elles ne garantissent pas une playlist. Toutes les soumissions seront soigneusement examinées pour voir si elles répondent aux exigences de notre station. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
The Morning Switch Weekend. With the Shy Guy.
I Show Speed, often called Speed, who is a popular American YouTuber and live streamer known for his high-energy personality, loud reactions, and unpredictable humor. He visited Ethiopia, and he was shocked what he found out actually when he got to Ethiopia. He got to find out that, they don't use the Gregorian calendar. That is, we are in 2026 right now. And he got to find out they are in 2018.
2018?
Nah, you trolling me. It's 2026. No. It ain't 2026. Wait, hold on. Wait, we in the past? Ronaldo is still in Real Madrid. Everything is in the past here.
Oh man, how shocked Speed was. He went back in time.
Saturday and Sunday mornings belong to the Morning Switch. 3 to 6 a.m. Central African Time. Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa.
She dey twist my dress. Yeah, you sweet, girl. Yeah, you turn me
what you want for you. Tell me if I do want for you. Tell me what you want for you. Because of you, I sing this song for you. You made me go, Iskama, Seki, Iskele, Papa, Ilebe, Iskama, Seki, Iskele, Papa, Ilebe. I never told you that I never had no feelings. All this time I told you when you thought I was kidding. Ooh, it's like really, but you're killing me. That ass like a baby. She got that ass like a baby. Ass like a baby. She got that ass like a baby. She got ass like a baby. Give her. She won't put it on the table. Ah, give me some of my label. Give her. Every time she available.
It's one day call. So love the song. It's 10:56 Central Africa time. We're speaking about the relationship dynamics when older women date younger men. And I actually don't understand why we like to be so in awe. Oh my gosh, what's going on over there? We actually do love to mind other people's business, usually more than we like to, be in our own business. We like to be in the business of others. And that's the thing, right? Without with the dynamics of that relationship being consensual, everyone else being old enough for the relationship not to be predatory, which of course is not really about men or women. In any instance, whether the man is older or the woman is older, it should have all those things as a basis. But why do we care so much when women, or in fact, when men fall in love with older women? I think it's because we've attached so much to the stereotype of a woman's youth, and that, a man should be able to spend his life with a young woman who is fertile and this and that, all of those who've been debunked, but those stereotypes still exist. And then when that relationship becomes secure and it grows, and those partners, go to their families and say, hey, this is my partner, or the families go over their head. I've actually watched things on TV so many times, reality shows in particular, not like, series or movies. They happen there too, but I've watched reality shows where those things
are not real.
I know, where those things happen. And then, the women say, especially the mothers or the fathers-in-law, like, I will not accept this. Why would you bring me a woman who's not going to be fertile, who's not going to bring children here? Why can't you just bring me a young woman? Like, this is the woman that I love. This is the relationship that I've chosen for myself. What is so wrong about it? And I think even in 2026, where we've debunked stereotypes about, the age of women's fertility and this, that, and the other, those notions still exist. And it's the people on the outside who have more of a problem with those relationships than the people who are actually happy in those relationships.
It's also another thing that's interesting that I'm thinking about as we're talking is that we assume that the older woman is always providing for the younger men.
Yes.
That's another stereotype as well that we have in these types of relationships. We never think that the young man can provide for the older woman, because we always have this baby daddy kind of thinking that the person must be older, or we also got that sugar daddy philosophy as well, that it's usually
the older person has the money.
Yeah, absolutely. But what are your thoughts on this? I think there are some dynamics where we ask questions and it should be the case, and maybe we should be investigating why something is happening. There's times where it is blurry, so yeah, it's not an ethical perspective where we're saying, well, the cougar identity is necessarily wrong or right. What's your take on it? +27 83288 6684. We'd love to hear from you. Hey, let's bring back Onelin Sinsi. She's going to give us the latest news.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Benjamin. Looking at your top stories, South Sudanese political actors asked to step back from current war, and Democrats in the United States and survivors of abuse by Jeffrey Epstein give details of proposed new legislation. The latest news. Greetings to our listeners. The head of the United Nations Peacekeeping Mission has urged the Security Council to ensure that South Sudanese political actors step back from a dangerous situation amid fears that the country could spiral back into a civil war. Jean-Pierre Lacroix was addressing the council days after the Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, condemned escalating violence in the country where nearly 10 million people, or more than two-thirds of the population, need life-saving humanitarian assistance, but continue to face the brunt of conflict. Lacroix warned of a political deadlock amongst the main signatories to the Revitalization Peace Agreement of 2018 that continued to drive heightened tension that has manifested itself in the armed confrontation in many parts of the country.
We therefore remain concerned by recent unilateral initiatives to amend the agreement, including proposals to defer key outstanding tasks such as the constitution-making process until after the election. If pursued, such changes would alter the primacy of the agreement and its precedence over national legislation. The Sudan People's Liberation Movement / Army and Opposition, as a principal signatory to the agreement, has indicated that it was not able to participate in these discussions in light of the ongoing legal proceedings involving First Vice President Riek Machar. The party has continued to contest these initiatives and has reiterated its position that its participation in political dialogue is contingent upon Mr. Machar's release.
The Zimbabwean government is now forging forward with its 2030 plans for President Emmerson Mnangagwa, intending to change the constitution to extend presidential terms from 5 to 7 years. Under the proposals, presidents would be chosen by MPs rather than in a direct vote and could serve a maximum of 2 7-year terms rather than the current 5-year terms. Justice Minister Ziyambi told a news briefing that the bill would be sent to the Speaker of Parliament and be published in an official gazette before lawmakers consider it. Mnangagwa, who is 83, is currently meant to step down in 2028 after serving 2 5-year terms. Zimbabwe political analyst Takura Zangaza weighs in on the draft legislation.
If it goes to a referendum, it will not pass. That's why they want to avoid the referendum. And that's why they are willing to show the Constitutional Court challenge around it, with the hope that the Constitutional Court rules in their favor about what an amendment can mean and can be. But it is highly unpopular. It will lose. If this was to go to a direct national popular referendum, they would lose this vote to the people's concern and displeasure.
Fraud examiner Paul O'Sullivan in South Africa has denied infiltrating the Independent Police Investigative Directorate. O'Sullivan is continuing his testimony before Parliament's ad hoc committee looking into allegations of interference, corruption and misconduct in the criminal justice system. He's previously been accused to undue influence within IPID, Police Service and the National Prosecuting Authority. Evidence leader Advocate Norman Arendse questioned O'Sullivan over the allegations. The Umkhonto Sizwe Party in South Africa has written to the National Assembly Speaker Togo Didiza requesting a debate in Parliament regarding the water crisis in the country. The party says residents across the country face dry taps and polluted water. The MK Party's member of National Assembly, Carol Mafagane, says they want government to prioritize the water crisis in the country.
The ongoing crisis with water affects every man and woman. You cannot go to school. You cannot live in a house where we are not sure how safe the water is. There's sewer spillage in most of our dams as a result of aged infrastructure. The GNU government has done nothing to upgrade infrastructure. Another thing that's affecting us is the water mafias are very much linked to political principle. They are not acting on their own. They are acting as a result of a tender system.
Lastly, Democrats in the United States and survivors of abuse by Jeffrey Epstein have given details of proposed new legislation designed to remove the time limits for victims of sex trafficking to come forward. They've named it Virginia's Law after Virginia Gifford, one of Epstein's main accusers who took her own life last year. They are proposing that there be no deadline for a civil lawsuit to be filed. Now, recapping on your top stories, the head of the United Nations Peacekeeping has urged the Security Council to ensure that South Sudanese political actors step back from a dangerous situation amid fears that the country could spiral back into civil war. For any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us at +27 11 714 4459. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Tsinsi.
SABC News. The African Perspective. We are on Open Views Audio Bouquet. Channel 628. On the Move with Benjamin and Palesa every weekday on Channel Africa, the African Perspective.
All right, we're in the final hour of the show. It's 1100 hours Central African time. Thank you, Onele, for that news update. She'll be back to give us more tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. That is also another day, right? So Onele will be back there. Thanks for doing a great job for us today. But we're going to be looking at our Live Well feature in this hour, looking at intravenous therapy. That is all those drips, those vitamins and stuff, fluid infusions, stuff that I haven't really done.
Yeah, no, me neither. I just don't get it. But we're going to find out because it's become so increasingly popular. All of people under these drips for very, very different reasons. Some say it's for hydration. Some say it's for immunity boosting. Yes. Some say it's for skin lightening. Hey, there's a lot going on here. So come through and join us. That's the conversation that's coming up just after this.
We'll be speaking to Mandy Ongwane, and senior nurse at IV Zeal Vitamin Therapy. I just go with the Red Bull. Just very quickly. Then yeah. But some people say, Ben, that's not good for you. Find other alternatives that might be better for you to get that energy back. Well, we'll talk about that later.
Kilo final sense. You say you like me, show you there why me easy picture waiting for my PP. My boyfriend who go like this thing. Don't know somebody. Smart you catch it feeling. The better part of body. Love on it, the agiri. Daya, olaya, because of desire. Seriously, wahala. Asking my lover, boro, 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 me, oh baby, oh. Boro, 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 boro.
Joy man be no normal shalaye. Oh, I ain't proper. Please, brother, no talker. Don't bother. No, it's not that I want chop. I'm just feeling peckish. Just a little fetish. I no disrespect, please. I go use my senses. I swear. We go run away on the low. Me if I know. No be waiting pressing the talk for megaphone. That's right. No be fight. I just want borrow your part. One time. Just a night. If you can't open that shop, yeah. I know come be kappa. I know add that just I don't like to tamper. I don't need to. Oh, lift up. You know, see the chemistry. She's my first love. More than me, terribly.
Hey, that's Simi. I wonder what she would think if someone says, borrow me your man, Adinkundle Gold. Just borrow me your baby just for a few moments there. Wow, those two have just recently celebrated their 7-year anniversary. But that's a Simi hangout with Falls on that one, titled Borrow Me Your Baby. It's 10 minutes past 11 o'clock Central African time. This is Channel Africa. We're going to a break.
Africa Update on Channel Africa with Lulu Kabu.
South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has informed UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres that South Africa will withdraw its troop contribution to MONUSCO, the UN peacekeeping mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo, after nearly 27 years of involvement. Defense expert Dean Wingren, what are the main security implications of South Africa withdrawing troops from MONUSCO, and why now?
South Africa has been part of the MONUSCO mission since it was established in 1999 and is South Africa's longest running peacekeeping and peace enforcement mission. So it's not something to be taken lightly when the President says that he's unilaterally withdrawing from the mission. Why now is the question? Well, the MONUSCO mission has always been intended to be terminated initially at the end of 2025, and then it was extended to the end of this year. So with the funding crisis within the UN generally, there's less funds for these peacekeeping missions, and hence the UN has had to cut back on the various contributing countries and equipment.
Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African time. The rhythm of Africa, the pulse of the continent. This is Channel Africa, the African perspective.
So easy.
I'll prove it all. Shall we go to the matter? Make we solve and cup and every time make you call that better. I might be dangerous, but I'm on your side, on your side. I know you thought that I would come and break your heart. No, not today. No, not today. And I know you thought that I would come and let to your scars. No, not today. No, not today. You need a good hug, Charlie. Good sex and good love, Charlie. Someone you can trust, Charlie. Don't worry about nothing, Charlie. I know you're struggling.
Hey, nice playlist today, right? It feels like a Friday all of a sudden with those good music right here on Channel Africa. It's only a Wednesday. That is Sade by Rotimi and Nasty C, taking us to 13 minutes past 11 o'clock Central African time. We're right on time for our Live Well. Intravenous therapy has moved beyond hospital wards into wellness clinics, beauty spas, and mobile health services across many parts of the continent. We see a lot of marketing around it. It's usually referred to as the best way of hydration, improved immunity, increased energy, and even a glowing skin, right? In many cities on the African continent, IV therapy is increasingly framed not as medical treatment, but as a lifestyle upgrade. Tatani Nina, man, hey, we need to learn on these things. We're speaking to Mandy Hongwane, who's a senior nurse at IV Zeal Vitamin Therapy, on the line to help us understand this one a little bit more. Mandy, welcome on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, and good day, everyone.
Yeah, I thought just my energy drink was good enough for me just to get rejuvenated. What's the difference between just an energy drink and getting an IV session?
Thank you so much. So there is a big difference. And the difference is when we introduce the vitamins, we introduce the minerals, we introduce the all the nourishing goodies via the drip. It's much more effective, much more faster, and much more efficient, as opposed to when you take it through the stomach, because then it depends on the state of your stomach.
Okay, I want us to actually delve deeper into that, because I mean the doctors usually say, you know, all the vitamins that you need and all the things, the nutrition that you need for your body, you can eat from your food on a daily basis, right? If I'm struggling with iron, for example, there's foods that I can eat like steak and etc. that can raise my iron levels, and that goes for all the other ones. So why are people deciding to go this route of the IV drip instead of just making their own diets better?
Well, they are quite right, Palesa. But as you can see, we are living in an era where everything that we eat in terms of food is ultra processed. And therefore, it comes with lesser vitamins than the ones that we are supposed to consume. Plus, when it comes to agriculture, they are continuously introducing new pesticides each and every year, which destroy the vitamins. It entails also the transportation, the preparation, the storage. Those that I've mentioned, they all affect the nutritional status of the food that we eat. Therefore, when you go for a drip, the difference is they come in very concentrated. They are completely organic. They are being screened before they are put into place. So they come in very concentrated, and we go directly into your stream, into your blood, which ensures much more absorption, as opposed to having a tomato that traveled how many hours from Limpopo and it was stored for how long? How long did it take for you to prepare it?
Sister Mandy, then how do we know that, okay, whatever is being injected in my arm is not just orange juice or oros nje? That is something that's really, really good for me. Because the thing is, many of these things are no longer happening in the conventional clinics, right? They're becoming standalone services. So how do you detect, okay, I'm getting a good service here, and how do you know that, okay, I'm at the right place and I'm not compromising my health?
All right. Now I'm talking on behalf of IVZIL, not the others. So in our space, we have the doctor for the company who reviews all these vitamins before they come into place. We have the registered and regular suppliers that are well known, and they are administered by all registered nurses. We are professional registered nurses. So we adhere to certain protocols before we actually put in the drip into your body. Number one, it entails obtaining the clinical data, taking all the information, finding out whether you have chronic conditions, whether you have risk factors. And therefore, even when we do administer, we make sure that we give you healthy education and explain to you what vitamin we are putting in your body and how it's going to benefit your body.
So what is in these IV drips? Like Ben, I've seen people go like as couples, as pairs, as friends. Are these people putting the same things in their bodies?
Like
How
me,
do they
I've
know?
never been with anyone in IV therapy.
Yeah.
No, I've never
I
been.
know. It's an example, Benjamin.
No,
I've never been to IV therapy either. I know that. But if Sister Hongwane was to come here, how would she know if she's giving us these IV drips, what your body needs and what my body needs?
All right. Like I have mentioned earlier on, that we are, most of the nurses that work in the space of IVs, they're practitioners who normally practice independently, like we are the ICU sisters. So we know what clinical data that we need to obtain from you, what history we are looking for, and how we can recommend the drips. So basically, we recommend the drips based on what you are presenting with. For example, there are people who come through, they'll be complaining of constant fatigue. They're always tired. That's the terminology for tiredness, fatigue. So when you come and complain that you're always tired, even when you try this, taking this, you've tried taking your energy drinks, all of that, we ask you all the information that leads us into establishing what has caused that tiredness until we come to a point where we are able to prescribe or recommend the right drip for you.
Okay, so Sister Mandy, rather, stay there on the line because this is so interesting, sister. I'm interested also in the long-term effects of it. When you go once, is it good to go over a period of time? But also there are different expenses that are involved, Sister Mandy. So we'll talk a little bit about that after the break.
The Upside, taking the African perspective to fresh levels.
From Channel Africa, about to have ourselves a good time right now. One Twara. Come on, brother. It's a whole thing.
You've partnered up with Focalistic, based on a true story.
It's actually crazy for you to put it like that, partnered up. This is someone I look up to from a very long time. 3 years ago, we put out a single, Pele Pele.
Yeah.
That was my first record with him. This project, based on a true story, the album was so highly anticipated and premeditated on our end, because something we constantly, kept on going back and forth about, but we never actioned it. It's actually quite crazy because all of this is happening whilst we are both working on our albums. I'm working on my album 31314 because there's a record, 31314, the interlude. So it's like a prelude to the album,
Let me pronounce it properly. Is it 31314? 31314.
The Upside, live and real. It's dynamic. 9 to 12 midday, Central African Time. On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
It's 21 minutes past 11. We're having this really interesting conversation with Sister Mandy Hongwane, who's a senior nurse at the IV ZIL Vitamin Therapy. And we've seen them right on social media. It's so trendy. Everyone is going to these wellness clinics. Some people are even getting like home calls where they have these drips in their arms for various reasons.
On the poolside, right?
Yes. And we're trying to understand this IV therapy better today with Sister Mandy Hongwane. Sister, you've spoken a little bit about the fact that you, as a nurse, of course, registered nurse, will go through the observation of the patient first to understand what they would need in their body. And you made one example. What other kinds of IV therapy drips are they, and what are they used for?
All right, we have a variety of drips. And the good news is they are so very much customizable, meaning you are able to create your own drips. So we have the very popular one, the Skin Glow. We have the other one for improving your immune system. We call it Immune Booster Drip. We have the one that we call multivitamin. So this is when you want to generally nourish your body. And we have the likes of anti-aging. That one is very popular. It basically repairs your cells, because I think you know that as we grow older, our cells are more exposed to these harmful detergents or toxins.
Yeah.
So it repairs the cells. We have the likes of detox drip. So basically what you do there, we give you the master antioxidant, we call it glutathione. So basically glutathione, you have it from in your liver makes it. So this one was synthesized from the lab. So basically what we are doing here, we are removing heavy metals from your body, trying to cleanse or detox your body. And we have the list, the likes of diabetic drip, because we do have people who have chronic conditions. And we have, let me remember the other one as well, because there are so many. There are so many. I need to mention the ones that are more popular. And the last one that we have, I would mention anti-inflammatory, because I think you are aware that we're having people having a problem with inflammation.
Okay, it sounds like a broad spectrum, right? On what you can actually get from these IV infusions. And what's also intriguing for me is the lifestyle associated with this one, right? Is it a lifestyle thing, or is it just something that's extra on the side to healthcare, or do you think it's critical?
In my view, it's very critical. Some people perceive it as a lifestyle. Others perceive it as, celebrity thing. But how I look at it is preparing your body or nourishing your body in advance before you actually get sick could actually mitigate the potential detrimental diseases that can come or that can follow. Because usually when you get sick or when you start showing symptoms, usually you've been sick for long. And that is why only medication can help at that time. So if you make it a lifestyle, it's best when we say it's a healthy lifestyle living, because nourishing your body before the problem comes, it's actually preventing potentially harmful diseases.
All right. And so when one comes in for these IV drips, I mean, according to you, say this is critical. So is this something that someone can do as a one-time offering? Like, I'm feeling fatigued right now. I come to the clinic and, you give me a once off. But some of them, for example, like the multivitamins or anti-aging, that sounds like something that you'd have to do over a longer period of time. What is the period of time that you should be taking this? Forever, just one time, or is it different with the different IV drips that are on there?
Thank you so much, Palesa. It has to be a continuous lifestyle process. And why I'm saying this is because our bodies differ. In as much as we take things that in a prolonged time, they harm our body. We need to have these strips on monthly basis or continuously, because some of the toxins that are in your body have been there for years and we are not able to eradicate them with one trip. So it has to be continuous. And once again, it's very much individualized. There are people who have engaged in a lifestyle of taking harmful, for example, alcohol, all these toxins in our body. So, excuse me, it does not take a short period of time to get rid or to detox your body. So it has to be a continuous thing until you feel the results, until you see the results.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Mina,
and most people normally,
okay,
sorry to break your way. Most people normally do it on monthly basis.
Okay. I'm scared of needles, man. Yo, Gataba. Ish. So how do we deal with that fear, or is it not that painful?
All right, let me just take you through our space. There is a difference between our space and a hospital setting. Here we are dealing with clients and we have to minimize pain as much as possible. Otherwise, you're going to run away and you're not going to come back. So you use different cannulas from that we use in hospital. For example, in hospitals, we deliver highly concentrated antibiotics, inotropic support, and other medications that need a bigger cannula so we don't damage your veins. But when you come into our space, vitamins, we use water-soluble vitamins. So usually these are very light. So we use smaller needles. Actually, I could call them baby needles.
Okay.
And usually we try by all means that we should. So that we don't
A cute little baby needle for Benji.
Yes, please. Take good care of me, nurse. Take care of me. All right. Tell us more about your services and what you provide and where you guys based.
All right, so we offer vitamin therapies. We do have some herbal products as well. We have different branches. We have one in Mall of the South. We have one in Centurion Mall. We have one in Cresta Mall, in Krugersdorp. We have another one in Cradlestone. We have another one in Sentin, the Mark. And we are found on different social media platforms. On Instagram, you'll find us at IVZIL. You'll find us on Facebook. You'll find us on TikTok as well.
Hi, sister. I think Ben is no longer scared. I think him and I must come to the clinic. There's so many. I'm sure we'll just pick the closest one and come through and see if the results are as you say. But thank you so much for joining us
As
today.
long as it's you, Sister Mandy, taking care of us, then I'll be fine.
I promise I'm going to take care of you. Come through.
That's Sister Mandy Hongwane, senior nurse at IVZIL Vitamin Therapy. Today we're speaking about IV therapy. Would you try it? Have you tried it? Would you give it a thumbs up? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Comment on our Facebook or our YouTube live stream, of course, there in the comment section. # on the move. But let's move on and go back to our sports desk with Musibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you, Palesa. A very good morning from the sports desk. So we'll start with cricket news. New Zealand all-rounder Michael Bracewell has been ruled out of the remainder of the ICC T20 World Cup after re-injuring his calf, with Cole McConey drafted in as a replacement in the team. Now, Bracewell had torn his muscle in the ODI series against India just last month, but then recovered in time for the tournament, only to suffer a setback again during warm-ups ahead of Sunday's win over Afghanistan. So the Black Caps went on to beat the UAE by about 10 wickets yesterday to move top of Group D and next face South Africa in Ahmedabad on Saturday. So some interesting things happening in this game between South Africa as well as Sri Lanka. It has now gone to a super over. So the matches were tied after 20 overs when Afghanistan were chasing 187. So scores were tied after 20 overs for both teams. At the moment, it went to a super over where South Africa got to 17 for the loss of 1 wicket. Afghanistan 17 for the loss of no wicket, meaning it has to go to yet another super over to determine the winner of this encounter. Never in the history of a T20 World Cup have we seen a match go to a super over, tied after that, and now another super over to determine who then wins this game between Afghanistan as well as South Africa. Afghanistan, of course, looking to make history by beating South Africa in a T20 international. It's all happening at the Narendra Modi Stadium out in the city of Ahmedabad. We'll be watching this very, very closely, and if I'm still on air before the conclusion of the bulletin, I'll let you know how this game transpires. Onto this now. South African rugby legend Brian Habana has reflected on his transition from an on-field superstar to off-the-field success since hanging up his boots several years ago. The 42-year-old who quit the game in 2018 and played his last international about 10 years ago has enjoyed a seemingly seamless crossover into the business world with several personal business ventures as well as numerous ambassador roles. Now, speaking exclusively to SABC Sport, Habana has admitted that he has incredibly been fortunate enough to remain as successful off the pitch as he was on the pitch.
But I've been incredibly fortunate that I've had some phenomenal people by my side. I think firstly my wife Janine and my family that have really supported me, allowed me to spread my wings in the best way possible. Some business colleagues that allowed me to start a fintech company called Pay Me Now that has allowed me to find my feet, but then ambassadorial work with the likes of HSBC, MasterCard, Defender, and doing things that I love, but being able to unlearn to learn has been pretty spectacular. And if I look back over the last 8 years, where I started off in the wilderness, I'm pretty comfortable in an environment where I'm extremely blessed.
On to tennis news now. Coco Gauff crashed out of the WTA 1000 Qatar Open yesterday, beaten in straight sets by the world number 57 Elisabetta Cosiretto. The 25-year-old Italian loser in the draw took the opening set 6-4 after a flurry of service breaks before breaking twice in the second to seal a 6-4, 6-2 victory in just over 90 minutes. It also marks the Italians' third career win over a top-tier player, earning her a third-round clash with fellow American Ann Lee, with a maiden WTA 1000 quarterfinal on the books for both players. At the same time, Iga Swiatek, the top seed at the tournament, eased into the third round of the WTA 1000 Open event yesterday with a commanding 6-3, 6-love victory over Indonesian wildcard Yanis Tejen. Now, the three-times champion raced through the opening set in just 25 minutes. Although she dropped serve at the start of the second, Swiatek quickly regained control to wrap up the win with minimal fuzz. So she'll next face Australian Daira Kazatkina in the last 16 and will be hoping then to qualify for the quarterfinals of the ongoing tournament. So South Africa now 15 for the loss of no wickets in the first over of the super over, so it's only just one over. I see a 6 has just been hit by David Miller, and now on that's about 6 runs, so now moving to about 21 runs in this super over. Tristan Stubbs also at the crease for South Africa. Miller, and it's about 2 balls left in the super over, where they will be hoping to beat Afghanistan to continue their winning run at the T20 World Cup. After this, of course, will be yet another super over from an Afghanistan point of view. It's 11:34 a.m. Central African time. It concludes your sports news this morning on Channel Africa. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, do send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Alternatively, call us. The newsroom line is +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Mosibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. Download the SABC app and take Channel Africa with you everywhere you go. Are you fluent in French, Chinyanja, Portuguese, and Kiswahili? Are you passionate about radio? And are you looking to work in South Africa? Do you have papers that qualify you to work in South Africa? In that case, we might have an opportunity for you to work for Channel Africa. Send us your CV and demo at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Remember, if you don't hear from us within 14 days, it means you have not made it or you have not been selected. Channel Africa, the African Perspective.
Thank you so much, Musibudi, for holding us down this morning. She'll be back with us tomorrow. Now, let's move on with our business news. Chandu Kolikeke now joins us.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Benjamin. Good morning. Zambia has formally requested a new International Monetary Fund (IMF) program, with a team from the multilateral lender expected to visit from February the 25th to March the 4th. According to the country's treasury, Felix Nkulukusa, if talks go smoothly, the Southern African nation expects to reach a staff-level agreement with the IMF in May. Zambia's most recent IMF program ended in January with the total disbursements of $1.7 billion, supporting the country as it emerges from a protracted debt restructuring process. Zimbabwe has officially launched Zimbabwe Mining Week on the sidelines of the Mining Indaba, currently underway in Cape Town, South Africa. The new annual International Mining Conference and Exhibition is hosted by Zimbabwe's Ministry of Mines and Mining Development and organized by VUCA Group. Zimbabwe Mining Week is set to take place in November this year in Harare and aims to position the country as a competitive player in the global critical minerals economy. Event Director at VUCA Group, Samukelo Matlabane, elaborates.
We're actually running this particular conference with a number of partners, and one of the partners that we are running this conference with is the Ministry of Mines in Zimbabwe. And this particular conference is designed to move the mining conversation beyond just extraction and exports. And essentially what we're going to do is to move the conversation towards an ecosystem-led growth,
addressing the full mining value chain, including local processing, refining, downstreaming, industrialization.
A farm in South Africa's Northern Cape province has been placed under quarantine following a suspected outbreak of foot and mouth disease. The alarm was raised by the Red Meat Producers Organization after official notification from provincial veterinary services. State veterinarians and police have secured the site, enforcing strict movement controls and contain any potential spread. Provincial chairperson of the Red Meat Producers Organization, Brent du Toit, says they are still waiting for test results to confirm the outbreak.
We haven't received the positive confirmation yet, but hopefully today they will confirm. If it's positive, it will be severe consequences for the province. Our livelihood exists from the sheep farming. We are vast open spaces which is suited for animal farming. So the most of the local towns' economy turns around the local farmers with their sheep and their cattle.
The South African rand gained against a weaker dollar in early trade as investors digested disappointing retail sales figures and waited for a key labor market report from the U.S. Earlier, the rand traded at $15.92 against the dollar, which is 0.2% stronger than its previous close. The U.S. dollar was last down 0.3% against a basket of currencies as traders continue to assess retail sales and unexpectedly stalled in December as households scaled back spending on vehicles and other big-ticket items, suggesting a slower growth path for consumer spending and the economy heading into the new year. Dutch brewer Heineken says it will cut up to 6,000 jobs from its global workforce and set lower expectations for profit growth in 2026 than a year earlier, as the brewer and its peers grapple with weak demand. The world's number 2 brewer by market value has promised to deliver high growth with fewer resources as it looks to assuage dissatisfied investors who say it has fallen behind on efficiency. At the same time, sales across the sector are faltering amid strained consumer finances, geopolitical turbulence, and bad weather. Financial indicators this hour: $1 Nigeria is 1,000 naira 354, Botswana 12 pula 99, in Kenya 127 shilling 90, Zambia 18 kwacha 92, BRICS countries $1 in Brazil 5 real 20, Russia 77 rubles 19, India 90 rupees 60, China 6 yuan 91, South Africa 15 rand 93 cents. $1 is 73 pence to the British pound and 84 to the euro. Commodities: gold is trading at $5,060, platinum at $2,136 per ounce, the price of Brent crude oil at $69.37 a barrel. That is all for me. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or you can call us on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Chandruko Ligege.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. Musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you will be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Darubini ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.
Tumeona chapisho mapema hii leo ya kwamba Wizara ya Mambo ya Nje ya nchini Marekani imesema inapitia upya uhusiano wake na nchi ya Tanzania. Pengine taarifa hii imepokelewaje na wananchi wa Tanzania?
Cha kwanza tumeiona taarifa ambayo imetoka hii leo. Sisi kwetu taarifa hii haikutushangaza wala haikutushtua kwa sababu tulishaona taarifa kama hiyo imetoka kwenye ubalozi wa Marekani nchini Tanzania, ikiwa imetolewa na Bwana Tom Pigott.
Umezungumza kwa kina kabisa. Haya ni malalamiko ambayo yamekuwa yakijitokeza mara kwa mara. Unadhani sasa je, wana hoja ya msingi?
Unauliza maswali mazuri sana na maswali ya tafakari. Maswali ambayo hayawezi kujibiwa kwa dakika moja au kwa siku moja. Ni maswali yanayohitaji tafiti, yanayohitaji kusoma.
Darubini ya Afrika kila Jumatatu hadi Ijumaa kuanzia saa 11 kamili hadi saa 12 kamili jioni majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa.
Maskosho ingenkinga. Sekubalisela. Howju? Maskupulimiswa. Wezombi. Sukumisa umzimba. Maskosho ingenkinga. Sekubalisela. Maskupulimiswa. Sukumisa umzimba. Koma sava, koma sava, nana. Aye sava, nana.
Koma sava, koma sava, koma sava, koma sava. Aye sava, aye sava, aye sava, aye sava, aye sava, koma sava.
To love you, would you still leave here with me if I didn't have $1? You fucked up my brother, put lipstick on my color. Could be my dirty secret if we keep it undercover. Como sava, it's nice to meet you. You couldn't wait, so you said fuck me in the club. What made you walk my way? Was it my smile or my diamond rolling? You ain't seen nobody else in the place till you heard me say, Como sava, como sava, como sava, como sava. Aye sava, aye sava, aye sava, aye sava, aye sava, aye sava, como sava. So easy, you just be buggy.
Alaikum, ¿cómo estás, amigo? Namaste. ¿Cómo ça va? ¿Cómo ça va? ¿Cómo ça va? ¿Cómo ça va? Aïe, ça va. 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 ¿Cómo ça va?
No time to waste. Be on the move with Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa.
Let us be honest. I don't know if I be honest. She in control, but she feel on it. You better not turn me down. You like this, I like this, I love. I love being your love. I'm tryna show you up. You up. She really the A-list girl. She really my favorite girl. I'm loving the way you twirl. You twirl in the Maybach. She really the A-list girl. She really my favorite girl. I'm loving the way you twirl. You twirl. Fresh up and it on me. You can't do it slowly. You're dirty wine, would you burn it for me? Take a picture in the shot sleeve. I had a feeling one of these days you'll be there, reason I stay. When you ain't girl, you make me say, ooh, crazy, crazy, crazy. You are me, girl, you're me. Yeah, swear chocolate I want buy. They say I love if it make a man fight. But I get hold up, who better than bring a mound, my girl fine like it at a bang. My daddy wish you boogie down. Give me booty bounce, make a elevator right now. Pussy and pressure, give her a girl later. Sharp like saber, my girl so fine. Give me the T1. I like the way you twirl. You twirl in the Maybach. She really the A-list girl. She really my favorite girl. I'm loving the way you twirl. You twirl. Fresh up and it on me. You can't do it slowly. You're dirty wine, would you burn it for me? Take a picture in the shot sleeve. I had a feeling one of these days you'll be there, reason I stay. When you ain't girl, you make me say, ooh, yeah, you're pretty, my girl. Turn up the night, turn up the dance floor. And she's riding motorcycle. You know you got the kick in my drum. Ooh, I go do anything when consign my charges. Yeah, I go do anything when consign my shawty. Yeah, I wanna go there, take me there. I wanna go there. Where the black thing, girl, don't take it from me.
Hey, that's Daku with Raymond. That one is titled A Favorite Girl. And before that, you heard Diamond Platinums with Goma Sava. It's 11:50 Central African Time. After the break, we'll come back with Lulu Gabu. She'll let us know what's coming up on the Africa Update.
Got something to say? Are you passionate about issues that matter?
Do you have a voice that deserves to be heard?
Well, we've got the perfect platform for you. Call in or drop us a WhatsApp on +27 63 406 9126.
And we will call you back.
So you could have your say and be part of the conversation.
30 years of age. I just turned 30 on the 15th of November. So yeah, that's who I am, you know.
It's not just talk. It's your chance to air your views.
Share your opinion.
Engage with a community that values your perspective.
Follow us on our social media.
Visit our website at www.channelafrica.co.za
and get ready to share your views
on Channel Africa,
the African perspective.
9 to 12 midday Central African Time.
On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
We are about to make way for Lulu Gabu right here on Channel Africa. Hey Lulu, what's up?
Hello.
Looking very bright and orange vandaag.
You know, it's so hot. And we don't even want to get into how hot it is.
Let's not go there. Hey, Lulu, what can we expect on the show?
All right, so a lot coming up on Africa Update. So we're looking at the National Democratic Working Group condemning proposed changes to extend presidential terms from 5 to 7 years. Potentially keeping President Emmerson Mnangagwa in office until the year 2030, calling it a coup in motion. So we've been speaking about this with a number of people that analysts. We've been speaking with activists, and the sentiment is they do not want to change the constitution. They do not want any amendments, but there is some movement that's taking place there, and it's just a wait and see as to which direction it goes. But it looks like it may happen. So it's just, as I say, wait and see. We'll be unpacking that. And then a new UNICEF data brief reports that nearly 1 in 5 children in the eastern and southern Africa are engaged in child labor. young people working, obviously working for home to make sure that everyone has something to eat, and it's a difficult one. So a lot happening on that front. So we'll be unpacking that, and then the Parliament ad hoc committee inquiry
with
still
Paul
underway
O'Sullivan.
with Paul O'Sullivan.
His identity being questioned.
Yes, and it's a very interesting one, and what's coming out from there, as well as the Madlanga Commission. I think Madlanga today, there's a new witness that is testifying. So there's a lot happening.
Yeah.
There's a lot happening, not only in South Africa, but across the African continent and the globe. So interesting times. A bumper-filled hour.
All right, from midday Central African time until 1 o'clock Central African time. Lulu Kabu will join us to give us the latest news of the day. Yeah, this one, it was trending everywhere. I still can't do the dance. Yeah, that is Makumba with Kede, with PKMZ and Keita. We're getting out of here. Goodbye, everybody. It's been a good one.
Have yourself a fantastic day. You'll find us here again tomorrow on The Move.
All right, we'll leave you with Nomfundo Mo, beautiful voice from South Africa with the deep voice Questa. This one is titled Sibani. Until next time, God bless.
Inhliziyo yakhe yathuthi yaphelezela uthande nginalo luya ngokuyaluyehla engathi kwanele manje engathi kwanele